Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
It is advised, people. What's up? How's everybody's
Hello,
Saturday?
good people. Mine wasn't a complete shit show, so.
Did you have to work?
Every Saturday.
You motherfucker.
And every Sunday. And
That's just
know that one day you guys will be able to look back and say, I knew E. Honda when he was a straight white male.
That's true. We did.
Yeah.
We did. That was before, but that was before you got your bonus hole. So then you got the bonus hole, and everything just went in a completely different direction.
I gotta keep dilating it. That was the only problem.
Yeah.
Will you come over and dilate my bonus hole for me tonight, Matt?
I mean, I'm a little far away, so it'll probably take me by like tomorrow night.
Maybe we could meet halfway.
Tomorrow afternoon, because I can get there in like 19 hours. We've done this before.
If we each go like 10 hours, then it's fine.
Then yeah.
Yeah.
And the halfway point is like Wichita Falls, Texas. So I'm sure there's a hotel or something there. Yeah.
What's worse, Wichita Falls, Texas, or Wichita?
Oh, Wichita is far worse. I like Wichita Falls. I've been to Wichita. It's a fucking shit show.
I mean, I've only drove through Wichita, but it seemed to me like it was a giant truck stop.
It is like the epicenter of white trash. When I was there, the 2 times I've been there. I was surprised there were any actual houses there instead of it just being one giant trailer park city. And I come to that determination after staying in a hotel there, eating at a couple of restaurants there, going to a Walmart and probably a handful of other stores, gas stations, and just in general driving around there. I determined that it felt like the largest white trash epicenter I've ever been in.
There was Miss Wichita, if you remember.
I don't remember that.
That was the girl that I was dating for a little while.
Oh, okay. Was she
remember, like right when COVID started, like right when COVID first started, she had that apartment.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I do remember you talking about that. Yes.
And then it turned out like I stopped talking to her after that or whatever. But like it was like a year later, she died.
What did she die from? The white trash COVID or something?
Yeah, pretty much white trash COVID. If by white trash COVID you mean fentanyl, then yes, she died from white trash COVID.
well, I was thinking that's not fentanyl, but close enough.
Yeah,
it's pretty much white trash COVID.
Okay, so that just confirms my suspicions about Wichita even more. Oh. I've only been to Wichita twice.
I love that you call it white trash COVID. Is now fentanyl overdosing. That might be the best thing that happened.
White trash COVID. I like this. They keep letting all that white trash COVID across the border too, man. Come on.
It comes from China, just like the other COVID.
It's your shit straight.
Comes from labs in China.
Oh yeah. It's good times, people. It's good fucking times. Yeah. But just to reiterate, Wichita Falls, Texas is not that bad. It's kind of a weird place because it's like a little island of this city that is in the middle of nowhere in northwest Texas, halfway between like the DFW area and Amarillo. And so there's like nothing around it. North, south, east, west, doesn't matter. And it's not like a huge town, but it's big enough. But there's just nothing around it. So it's a little island in Texas of fucking population. It kind of very secluded from the map. So anything that's not there, like good luck finding it because you're driving 2 hours to Amarillo or 2 hours to DFW to find it, which nobody wants to fucking do. So in a way, I feel like Wichita Falls, Texas is very culturally inbred. that makes any fucking sense. But it's actually a nice little town. They got some cool shit there.
I think you can make an argument that your entire state is culturally inbred.
To a degree, yes, depending on certain aspects of cultural inbreeding. Some in good ways and some not. It's very well, this is the Geek Chat, so I'm not going to get into politics or anything. But there are aspects of cultural society that have been inbred in Texas, and some I think are good things, and some I don't. But at the same time, I mean, California is the same way, right? It's very culturally inbred in a lot of ways that some people like and some people don't, because you're just constantly surrounded by people who agree with everything you agree with, and people who disagree with you are just shunned and, like, you know, pushed to the outskirts of society. So it's just a lot of, you know, it's like being surrounded by a lot of yes men in a giant echo chamber that leads to cultural inbreeding. I like this cultural inbreeding thing. This is great. I never quite explained it like that before, but yeah, this is a good way to explain a lot of what's going on in a lot of places. So yeah. Oh, we already got a super chat out there in the comments. Tom F just dropped in a super chat. Didn't say anything. Thank you, Tom. Mr. Tomas. Is it Tomas? Thomas? Thompson? What else can Tom be short for?
Submachine gun.
Thompson, yeah. Yeah, there we go. Anyway. Hi, y'all. How you doing? This is the Geek Chat. Duke might or might not still be awake. I don't know yet.
I got you. I'm here.
Okay, I'm just checking. I didn't have confirmation. Like, you were speaking at the very beginning, but there have been times, and don't fucking lie. You know this is true.
I'm not lying.
Where you have spoke for like the first 3 minutes of a chat, and then like we go to ask you a question 5 minutes later, and it's just
that has happened before, dude.
I didn't say it didn't.
So Duke, I do want to start off something today with you.
Yep.
That we were talking about last night, and then you texted me about today whilst I was at the movies, which is why I didn't respond. But although I did respond later, I sent you that link to that song I wanted you to listen to.
It was awesome. Thank you.
Wasn't that great?
Really good.
I love that fucking song. For those who don't know what we were talking about, who didn't see the chat on my other channel last night, we were talking about music a lot last night.
Yeah, I loved it. It was a good chat.
And I was telling Duke, because he had never heard it before, the song Jesus Christ, I'm blanking. Anyway, the Dynamite Hack song that they redid from NWA, which if you've never heard it, you definitely should. It's fucking phenomenal and fantastic. Anyway, but yes, so last night we were also talking about, oh God, here we go, The Walking Dead. And most especially the new City of the Dead. Is it Dead Island? What the fuck is the name of the show? I don't even remember anymore.
Dead Island.
Dead Island. Thank you. That you know, I did watch it all. Although I watched it constantly hitting the skip button all through this series. Duke, did you actually watch the whole thing, or did you skip to the end?
Nope. No, I watched the whole thing.
You watched the whole thing. Okay.
I watched everything. I finished. After we got off last night, I watched a little bit more, and then I watched it all this morning. I finished the whole thing, and it was horrible. It was so bad.
And you said somebody had told you, or maybe you just read online, I don't remember, that there was a payoff at the end, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so this morning, before I went to the movies, I watched the last episode, thinking, okay, maybe, you know, I don't know if I'll agree with, you know, I'll like the payoff, but okay, there's at least a payoff at the end. I saw no payoff at the end of this episode.
Nope.
There was no payoff. Like, I was honestly expecting, and nobody gives a fuck enough about this show for me to sit there and, you know, be like, I'm not going to spoil it for you. It doesn't matter. Trust me, people. When Negan was talking to that chick, I thought her or the Croat dude or somebody was gonna like hand him Lucille.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for.
Did they not? Did it not feel like that was what was gonna happen?
Yeah, and then they gave him a toe.
And they gave him a toe.
Yeah, that was so
They gave
weird.
him a child's toe.
To show them, oh, we'll come back and kill him. I kept a piece of him. I'm like, that's like some weird stuff. Like that was a little too much, and I just thought it was dumb.
Yeah.
What is the definition of insanity?
I know. I know what
Watching The Walking Dead repeatedly.
Yeah.
Well, continually doing the same thing and expecting a different result. The Walking Dead and all iterations thereof, as far as I can tell, have been all bad
No.
for a really long time.
Yes.
And you keep watching it.
Okay.
Expecting it to get
Well, I know
better.
we want to talk about the
I
issues
do.
that we have. So, like, the sheriff, I hate when, okay, a guy just saved your life, like moreover and moreover and moreover, and you still like are gonna take him in. I'm like, this is stupid. He just saved your life, and you're gonna like, okay, come on, let's move on with this. And the whole anti-gun thing, where everyone's running around, not only
the
like
fucking drill guns or whatever the fuck those fucking
fishing
grapple hook
lines.
drill fucking wannabe Batman's grappling hook gun.
but then like
fucking
no
shit.
one even has decent hand weapons.
Mm-mm.
Like no one's even carrying a pipe or a staff or a pole or anything. They're carrying like
little
spiked
knives and shit.
little knives and spiked helmets.
Yeah.
Which is like some like British shit. Anyways, I hate everything about this. The only scene that was good was the one I saw that you talked about that I had not seen.
Where he's on that balcony at that
Negan
bank.
comes in and he bashes the dude's head into the window, cuts the dude's throat, and then cuts the dude open, spilling his entrails. That was cool. That was awesome. I wanted that. The premise of this was stupid. Like the fact that his wife and kid are gone are dumb. The fact that he's like saving this little and I laughed when she was in that cooler going across the Boston Harbor or whatever she was crossing in a cooler. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is. Well, first of all, let's put it this. Regardless of whether or not the story could or could not have been somewhat palatable, palatable. It was this should not have been more than like a 2-hour movie. There was not 6 hours worth of story here. They spent so much time stretching this fucking show out to get it to be 6 full 1-hour episodes that it just bored. Like even if there was a good story at the base of this, you're now so bored watching this fucking show because relevant shit happens so rarely. It's very, you know what I feel like it is, except this is way, way worse. But I feel like this is the same thing we got with that Obi-Wan series, where it should have been a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Except this is way, way worse than that because the core story wasn't even interesting. Even if you had boiled it down to the 2 hours of show that actually shit was actually happening, it would not have been that interesting all said and done. You still would have walked away from the movie going, well, that fucking sucked. But at least I can say you wouldn't have been bored if it was only 2 hours, you know?
Well, Ed,
you would have just been disappointed. Now you're disappointed and bored.
You've destroyed this The Walking Dead ending that we did get, where like everybody kind of looked like they had their stuff together.
Yeah.
Because within a couple of years, you're telling me that a group of guys with no guns, nobody's got guns, come into your place and steal a child. Yeah. And you can't even do it. And that we go to, they're barely farming and they're starving and they have like sticks again.
Yeah.
And by the way, years have passed. This
is years later because the last time when we last see the little Herschel, right? He looks like he's about 10. Now he looks like he's about 16. So I'm guessing about 6 years have passed.
Yeah.
Since the last time we saw everybody. Okay. And another thing, and maybe I'm just overthinking it because I don't think anybody making these shows is overthinking anything because I don't think they have a fucking clue what they're doing. But I'm looking at this going, okay, so this new Babylon area of the country now is all up there in the Northeast somewhere, right? Along with the island of Manhattan is now run by a bunch of fucking lawless fucks or whatever, and all these gangs and shit. Yet at the same time, if you've been watching The Walking Dead, you know that there's this like fucking whatever the fuck they call themselves, Confederacy, Commonwealth, whatever the fuck it is, that's literally up there in New York and runs everything. It's like, okay, these two things don't jive. This is supposed to be some nationwide fucking, is it the Commonwealth or the Confederate? Like, what the fuck they call themselves?
Whatever.
Helicopters, whatever the fuck they are. They're like all over the country, in pockets all over the country, supposed to be the most powerful group in the country. Yet right in their backyard, we're supposed to believe Manhattan is a fucking escape from New York hellhole run by gangs. And there's this whole new fucking area called New Babylon that they don't control at all and has their own. Like, it's so inconsistent with this bigger story they're trying to tell in Walking Dead that it makes no fucking sense.
But it's the Buttercream gang. It's the Buttercream. What we had? We were in New York and we saw no cool factions.
No.
There's no cool gangs. There's these like I don't even know who these people were that they teamed up with. They were like some losers, and they were running around in a kitchen, and the guy had bee cream, and it's just stupid.
Am I the only one who thinks that Tom F's comment in the bottom left corner looks like a big yellow penis?
It does.
Nothing in the that's the balls. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's very dumb. And again, especially going back to the Commonwealth, Confederacy, whatever the fuck they're called, like, they do have guns and lots of ammo, and seemingly will just fucking kill anybody at the drop of a hat. And they're there. We know they're there. They've been building up to this big story with Rick and Michonne on Fear the Walking Dead, on The Walking Dead, on Walking Dead World Beyond. But now all of a sudden, they don't enter into the story in any way, shape, or form, and they've allowed this whole other fucking faction to rule this part of the country, and then just gangs to roam wild in Manhattan, and they haven't fucking done anything.
It's just partially because the actor who's playing
fucking stupid. It makes no sense. Nobody should watch this show. Nobody should watch. Like, look at it as like this. Me and Duke watched it, so you don't fucking have to, because this show is not good. It is boring. It does not come to any conclusion that fucking means it doesn't. Okay, first of all, it doesn't come to a conclusion. By the way, this story ends like as though they're going to do a season 2, which I thought this was supposed to be a one and done thing. Yeah. Apparently not. Because it doesn't actually have an ending. You know, like, you don't even like, okay, if we want to get Negan becomes some fucking leader or something or whatever, then like give us that. Don't give me 6 hours of fucking episodes leading to, well, maybe he will be, while you watch 6 hours of shit where nothing significant fucking happens, and you leave it with like, oh, will he become the leader of this new group? No, fuck you. If that's what you were building to, you should have done all that building in like the first episode or 2, and then given me like 4 episodes of Negan fucking being Negan again with a new Lucille and whatever else the fucking you wanted to do. Because otherwise, I don't give a shit.
Yep.
I don't give a shit that there was no fucking payoff in this. Like, what the fuck? You made me watch 6 hours of this bullshit, thinking there was going to be some big significant thing that happens at the end.
Nothing even cool happened. There was no cool fighting. There were no cool battles. Nothing cool happened. What should have happened is, like, a second episode in, he should have dived right back into old Negan. And, like, old girl should have been like, oh, gosh, what did I unleash? But, okay, I got to go with this because I need my son back. And he should have been on, like, a reign of terror. And it should have been about him killing everyone else to take control. That's what would have been more
interesting is if it went fairly similar to the way that it did, but exactly like you're saying. None of this pussyfooting around. And then the payoff at the end is very similar to the end of fucking Conan the Destroyer, where it's him sitting on the throne of fucking Manhattan.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been far more interesting. He spends the entire fucking series slowly devolving into old Negan, fucking killing everybody, yet at the same time winning all these gangs respect and all this shit. And in the end, Maggie gets her son back, but Negan is now officially fucking Negan again, sitting on the throne of New York.
Yep.
That would have been a far fucking better story.
Yep.
And we still would have ended in the same fucking place that this shitty show did.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. I thought it was a waste of time. And another thing is, we're not the only people who think this. This is a cool genre. This was a cool series. We're not gonna. It's not gonna continue if they keep producing crap. You know what I'm saying?
Crappy because the actor who played Rick didn't want to be part of it anymore.
Well, he is going to be a part of it in his series.
I thought he backed out of something or other. I don't know.
No,
I don't follow it like you guys do, so maybe I'm wrong.
No. There was a trailer. We watched the trailer last night. They put out a teaser for his new show coming out here in a few months. Him and Michonne's new show. So he's coming back.
Yeah,
the thing with him was he fucking left and didn't do a goddamn thing for like the last 6 years. And that was his thing. He wanted to take a break from fucking acting after doing The Walking Dead for 11 fucking seasons.
After spending 11 years in Georgia, he's like,
yeah. And so he hasn't done shit. Like if you look at his IMDb page, he's done like one fucking thing in the last 5 years. And it was some episode of some horror show.
Okay, so I don't get that. I don't get that. So you have all the money in the world, and there's 52 weeks in a year. Daddy can't go away for 6 weeks a year to make, I don't know, $50 million fucking dollars.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
And you can come with him. You can,
and it might also,
and the teacher, and the
he may have had the exact same complaints we did, and he's like, I just don't want to be on this fucking show anymore because it's not making sense, and I just don't like it. And I honestly couldn't blame him for that. Because by the time he left, you and I were both already starting to bitch about the show and how far it had fallen from where it was at its peak. Maybe he was just like, you know what, I'm kind of done with this. My contract's running out. I'd like y'all to figure something out. Maybe I'll come back if you pay me enough. And he left. And they said, okay, well, yeah, we'll definitely have you back. You know, because originally they were going to do 3 fucking Rick movies. And he was like, okay, that sounds cool. But for now, I've made a lot of fucking money. I think he's got 2 or 3 young kids with his wife that he had while he was making the show. And he's probably like, I made a fuck ton of money. Don't really like the direction of the show anymore. I'm not having fun anymore. I'm going to go fucking back to England and spend time with my fucking wife and kids. And if they want to pay me enough, I'll come back and do some other shit. But like, and I don't blame him for that.
Did he name his kid? Did he name his kid Carl?
I'm pretty sure no.
Well, if he did, it would be Coral.
Coral.
So I mean, I will say I'm excited about the Daryl Dixon show. That looks good.
Here's what I'm saying is the trailer to the Daryl Dixon show looked really good. But let's not fucking blind ourselves here, okay? Just because the trailer's good doesn't mean the fucking show's going to be good. The Daryl Dixon show had a really good trailer. I liked it. We watched it last night on the show. I thought it was great. It looked cool. Yeah. It's like it's very much like what we've talked about before in a shit hit the fan situation. Like, what's the type of guns that are most likely to still be around? The fucking black powder shit. And like everybody has black powder guns and shit. And it's like, it like made sense.
They have like medieval guns.
Yeah, and they had like they had World War II era guns and black powder guns and fucking, they were using like anything they could get their hands on, flintlock pistols and shit. And it was just a really good trailer. Yeah. That does not mean the show is going to be good though. So we could have just seen all the best scenes in that fucking trailer.
I hate it
in World War Z. In the World War Z book by Max Brooks, not the terrible, horrible movie.
Not the fucking movie. Not the fucking. Which, by the way, I do like the movie. I just wish they hadn't called it World War Z. But yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So in the book, a group of people, I think in England, retake a castle that was a museum, and they use the weapons, the tactics, and they like just say, okay, we're going back to the medieval times, and they farm and they forge and they make weapons and arrows and they survive. They're one of the most like prolific fighters because they just used all chainmail tactics. And
well, it was like, remember
in
the book, Japan did the same thing. They went back. They went to back to like very feudal times, you know, with the old school weaponry and stuff like that, and that style of living. And that's how in the book it explains that the people that survived in Japan, that's how they survived. You know, all these groups went back to, okay, we're dealing with something. You know, we now no longer, you know, fucking power grids are down. We don't have, you know, light and all this shit, and we have to fucking adapt real fucking quick. And they went right back to that shit that they knew, and that's how those little pockets of civilization survived was because of that shit. And then there was the United States.
Remember what the North Koreans did?
Didn't they just start fucking killing everybody or some shit?
No, they removed everyone's teeth.
Oh, that's right.
Country in like a week.
Teeth, so nobody could bite.
Everyone had to get their teeth pulled. Yes, so nobody could bite.
But I like how America survived. In the book, America basically survived by creating these little pockets of civilization on these like linked fucking boats out on the ocean and off the coasts, where they were just like fucking building shit up until they came. What did they call that gun that they had come up with, which was a 22 caliber high capacity gun?
Oh, I can't remember.
I can't remember what the name of it was. They had a name for it in the book. It was like the ZRT or some weird shit like that. They came up with this gun that held just a ton of 22 caliber ammunition. And it was these suppressed guns, so it was very quiet. Shot a very small round, but big enough to fucking go into a zombie skull and one shot, you know, just incapacitate them, put them down, and they just sat off the coasts in these like groups of fucking like there would be a carrier that was linked to all these other boats and civilian boats. And they were they turned into all these little floating fucking cities. And then when they were ready, they started going in very systematically across the country and just fucking taking out in massive groups, just taking out every fucking zombie they found and just, you know, pop, and they'd clear an area. And then the government and the military and the people would move back in, and then they'd expand for exactly what we've talked about. They should have done in The Walking Dead a long time, which the only person that's ever done that was Morgan, which was that whole clear mentality. You know, that's what they did. That's how the United States survived and came back was because they just went in and went clear, just systematically across the entire country over 10 years? I think he said I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, it was 10 years.
It's been a while since I read the book, but I want to say it took them like 10 years to clear the fucking country.
The Marines made that. It was called like a Lobo or something. It was a lobotomizer, and it was like a metal bayonet, like Batcliff from like Star Trek or something. And they just that's all they would use when they would fight zombies. I thought that was super cool. It sounds
like something Marines would do.
It definitely sounds like the weapon.
If you were to associate the branches of the military with Star Trek species, I feel like Klingons are the fucking Marines. You know, Federation is the Navy. Vulcans. I think that's a pretty thing. I feel like with their moral superiority and arrogance, that the Romulans are the Air Force.
I'll give that to you.
You know, the Ferengi are like that's the Coast Guard. Ferengi,
like the Coast Guard. Nobody likes the Coast Guard. The Ferengi.
The Ferengi are the Coast Guard.
I like that a lot. Oh my gosh! I remember the first time I saw Ferengi, I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah.
That's as a kid.
That's what a lot of people say when they see the Coast Guard. They're like, "What the fuck are these motherfuckers?"
The first time Ferengi were on TV, it was Star Trek Next Generation. One of the Ferengi who was playing as the actors is Quark. Quark. The same actor who plays Quark, Armin Sherman, played one of the original Ferengi in that episode, and then later became a Ferengi. I think that's
so. What would the Packlet be comparison be?
They're like local PD.
Packlet smart.
Yeah, no. I mean, that was one thing when the Ferengi first showed up, and they were very savage and had lightsaber whips. Remember that shit? The lightsaber whips that they fucking had.
Yeah, they try to make them like a Klingon-like race at first.
Yeah, and it did. I'm glad they went the way they did because Ferengi as a species in Star Trek turned out to be much more entertaining that way than trying to make them.
I like the fact too, like when Nog took the test. Was it called the unpassable the test? Star Trek, like Kirk was like one of the only people who did it because he cheated.
Oh, Kobayashi Maru? Yeah.
Kobayashi Maru, that's it. I don't know why I blanked on that, but Nog crashed the test. He took it 2 times. He died in a blaze of glory the first time. The second time, he crashed the test because he tried to Ferengi it. He tried to bargain his way. And it overloaded the system.
Dude, we're gonna have to use that now. The fucking Coast Guard or Ferengis.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to use that.
I feel like that works.
No,
I love that a lot.
I figured out what was missing. The porn music.
The what?
The porn music.
Oh fuck! I forgot the porn music. I always forget the porn music. That's on me, people. I don't know why I always forget. You'd think after always forgetting, I would eventually remember, but anyway. Yeah, so to sum up everything we've talked about, Wichita is a white trash community. Fentanyl is white trash COVID. Walking Dead Island sucks. Don't watch it. And the Coast Guard are Ferengis. So there you go.
I did watch the season premiere of Invincible, season 2.
It's already out?
That was my surprise. I was like, I caught it earlier today after I cut the grass. I was like, what?
I didn't know it was that. I saw the trailer, and in fact, I posted the trailer on ToyTubers.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was actually out. Holy shit. Well, I'll have to watch that after the show then, because I didn't know that season 2 had actually premiered.
It was really good, too. It's the origin of Adam Eve. The whole episode.
Oh, no, that's not the show. No. No, that's another thing they dropped this weekend. That's not season 2. Because I've seen the trailer for that. It says before season 2 starts, watch the origin story of Adam Eve. That's a different show. That's just like a little.
You called it like season 2, episode 1.
Okay, because I saw a trailer for that, which said before you watch season 2, you've got to watch Adam Eve and all that shit. I've seen that because they put out a trailer for that. I saw that this morning. The trailer for it, anyway, I saw this morning. And that
Adam Eve? What are you talking about? Some like porno shit?
No, Adam Eve. So it's a chick named Eve who has the power of the atom, ATOM, atom.
Oh yeah, they're calling it special episode. On my phone,
so her name is Adam Eve.
Oh well, Adam and Eve's is where you buy like.
That's porn. Yes,
like pocket pussies online or whatever.
Not Adam, but Atom.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's not season 2, but
okay.
I did see that. I knew that was out. I just haven't watched that one yet, so I do need to watch that.
For some reason, when I watched it on my phone, it called it season 2, episode 1.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was like, what?
Okay.
Yeah, it's here on the season 202.
All right, guys. We are now going to talk about I Am Death, Destroyer of Worlds. So I went and watched Oppenheimer today at the movies. All fucking 3 hours of it.
Oh.
And let me just say, before I get into first of all, there will be spoilers. But here's the thing. If you are spoiled by this story, what the fuck? Seriously?
It's a historical event.
It's history. We know how it ends. Anyway.
It's like being surprised when the Titanic sinks.
Yeah, here we go. All right. Anyway. I watched all 3 hours of this show.
Wait. The Titanic sinks?
Yeah, it does. Fuck.
Shit.
Let me just say, it is without a doubt the best movie that has come out this year. And I will find it very difficult. I believe it will be very difficult for an even better movie to come out this year. It was fucking great.
What about Barbie?
I don't know. I ain't seen that shit. I don't really care. I mean, I'm gonna watch Barbie when it's free to watch somewhere, but I'm not paying to see that shit.
You're not gonna take your daughter to see it? There were all these people coming in like dressed in all pink and shit. It was funny.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. So
from the reviews I've seen and people talking about it, it's ultra feminist too.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, I heard there was, or I didn't hear. My wife was watching something and she said, "Oh, I guess what? I just heard there was a fucking trans Barbie in this." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." Again, I'm not paying to go see this fucking movie, so I don't really give a shit. But Oppenheimer, I was willing to pay to go see, and I am fucking glad I did. It was fucking great. It was a very, very good movie. This movie is going to win something at the Oscars. Not that I ever watch the Oscars, but I'm just saying it's going to. It's probably going to be, I guarantee you it's going to be nominated for Best Director, Best Film, and Best Actor at least. But it will be nominated for at least those three things.
Remember, though, Oscars got those weird requirements now before they can even nominate anything.
Oh, that's true. It's fun. It's full of a bunch of white people. Oh! But, and it was a white man that directed it. I'm just saying, it was good. It was really good. Now, the vast majority of the story I already knew. And I'm sure there's a lot in it that has been kind of sensationalized when it comes to, interpersonal reactions, that there's no way we could have known what these conversations were and things like that. Right. But it was a great fucking movie. Like, it really, really was. Highly recommend you check it out when you get a chance. It did phenomenal. They did phenomenal work in putting this movie together. I'm not always the biggest fan of Chris Nolan's artistic style. Like, I mean, sometimes it's great, and then sometimes you get Dunkirk, which I'm just not a fan of that movie. And I love World War II movies, and I love the story of Dunkirk. I just didn't like the way he put that movie together, the way it was edited together in three different times that all led up to one, but like one covered like 2 days, and one covered 2 hours, and one covered 2 weeks or some shit. I don't even remember. Like, I didn't like his artistic vision of editing that story together. It made the movie not work for me. So I'm not always the biggest fan of when he fucking puts together a movie, because he's always got to have some like little unique twist in how he edits a story together. This one worked for me. Now, I will say it does bounce around back and forth. At the beginning of the movie, it bounces around between 3 time frames. Current is what's going on during the period of time when they get him to be the head of the Manhattan Project, and once they drop the bomb. That's what you would consider current time. And at the beginning of the movie, it bounces back and forth between that, 5 years after the bombs dropped, and years earlier, right after World War I, when he's still studying. That beginning part drops away pretty quick. The stuff that happens, right after World War I and going into the early 20s, that bouncing back and forth between that time frame kind of drops off within the first 30, 45 minutes of the movie. But then it will bounce back and forth between after, 5 years or so after, in the early 1950s, and then during the period of time where the Manhattan Project's going on. But it's done so in a really great way that it makes perfect sense. It's very easy to follow as far as like anybody who, I know some people don't like those types of stories, non-linear storytelling and flashbacks and flash forwards and shit like that. Some people just don't like watching that. But it was done really, really well. The movie's gorgeous. I mean, it looks beautiful. It's shot beautifully. Not a lot of special effects, obviously, except, when bombs are going off. And the editing's done perfectly.
I have a question. I have questions.
Yes, I've said yes 3 times.
Sorry, I was saying it like an Asian person. When they dropped the Nagasaki and Hiroshima,
Mm-hmm.
did they do what we do now, which is an airburst explosion, where they detonate it like a quarter mile above the surface or whatever?
Well, no. I mean, at the time, I believe, and I don't remember, because in the movie they didn't really talk about the height. They do talk about how you have to make sure you detonate this before it hits the ground, but you can't detonate it too high, otherwise you're not going to do anything and all this stuff. And they did talk about that. If I remember at the time, they had to detonate it like a few hundred yards before it actually hit. If I remember correctly from like actually looking at this shit. So like a couple of football fields off the ground was where they would detonate it.
And did it culminate in them dropping those bombs, the movie?
No, actually, the way it's done. I mean, there's really only one actual nuclear explosion you see in the movie. You only see it once, and that's
where they built it on the tower or whatever. The first one.
That's when they actually tested at Los Alamos. That's the one you actually see.
You can go to that site still today with a Geiger counter and pick up the Cobalt 15 or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know what it is. Like the cobalt and the other shit that you get that stays around forever is still there, and you can still measure it.
The ground is literally
Hiroshima. I believe that they didn't detonate them. Maybe it wasn't on the ground or whatever, but they definitely detonate them higher, I think, now than they used to back then, for the reason that when those bombs went off, it mixed with a bunch of the ground stuff that could burn, irradiated it, and then sent it up into the air because it was burning. So a lot of the people who died of radiation poisoning years later, if it had been a modern day nuke, would not have died years later. But that was the only point I had.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the only time you see an actual bomb go off, and that scene and the way it's set up and everything was again done great. It's a great fucking movie. Like it really was. It is definitely the best movie so far this year. Just as far and again, it's. Most of us learned all this shit in school, so it's not really anything new. There was some stuff that that you learned about Oppenheimer that I never knew. Just stuff about him personally that just not really something that you don't really get reading in a textbook or anything like that. Or learning about the Manhattan Project, or there's certain aspects into his personal life and stuff that you got to learn. So there was stuff that that I didn't know in the movie. But most of it is stuff we all know and we've heard about how he was treated, after the, afterwards, and how he was, they tried to go after him and that kind of thing. So all that's all in the movie. And, but there were some details about that I, didn't even know that, I learned about watching this movie. So that was kind of cool. Not a lot. I mean, most of us know the basic story, because, it didn't happen during our lifetimes, but we kind of know the basic story of Oppenheimer, but not all the details. And this fills in a lot of those details on, who he was and, certain things that happened in his life and things like that. But yeah, it was great, man. I really, really liked it. I don't think there was anything not to like in this movie. You know what I mean? I mean, they even delve into, which I had heard before, but again, this is one of those things that I never really dug much into. I had heard, and most of what I'd heard about it came out of the fact that they tried to go after him in the 1950s, but not really understanding, or doing the research to really find out, more about the situation. But I knew they tried to go after him in the 50s for being a communist, right? Like that was a big deal, the whole McCarthy era. They tried to go after Oppenheimer for being a communist, and I never really dug much into the story outside of that. Of they tried to go after him for being a communist. And this movie actually goes into well, no, he wasn't a communist. He didn't actually like the communists. He didn't like what was he at the time before World War II. was going around trying to tell people, yeah, communists are bad and all this kind of stuff and whatever. You know, the communism of Europe of the time. He's like, but it's not near as bad as what fascism's going to do in Germany, because he was Jewish and he knew what was going on in Germany, and he worked in physics and things, and he knew Albert Einstein personally, and he knew a lot of the scientists that had to leave Germany because they were Jewish and shit. And so he hung out with people who were communists because he believed that he believed that what was going on in Germany was bad, and so did all the fucking communists and the Russian communists and shit. It's because he knew some of these people, even though he wasn't a communist. They tried to go after him for being a communist. I'd never known that. I just thought, well, maybe, I guess, because a lot of people back then, that's what the McCarthy era dug out, right? A lot of people, turns out, were card-carrying members of the Communist Party in America, right? He never was. And they were able to prove he never was. And prove that all he was ever trying to do was say, hey, we need to worry about this shit going on in Germany right now, because that's going to be way worse than if all we're doing is focusing on communism right now. And at the time, the FBI here in the country was just worried about people going to communist meetings and going around and fucking harassing people, which again, eventually after World War II, started back up again and culminated into a McCarthyism, which, although I'll be honest, at the time made a lot more sense once we had to deal with Soviet Russia and communism after we had fucking no longer had to worry about.
I would say it makes sense today. I mean, we got quite a bit of communism going around. And,
I'm talking about from that perspective, it made sense why in the 1950s we were uber worried about communism. It made sense because they were actively trying to infiltrate our government and shit, and they were using, famous people to do it and shit, and people in the scientific community to try and do it. But before World War II, his point was, yeah, this is not ideal, but we really need to worry about what's going on in Germany right now. And that was his thing, was we really need to focus on that. And part of it was probably because he was sympathetic to some people. His brother was a card-carrying communist, right? And he loved his brother, and he said it. And when he went to trial and when they were grilling him and shit, he straight up said, he's like, I love this country. I'm not a communist, but I'm not going to turn on any of my friends. They believe what they fucking want to believe. And you can call me a communist for caring about my brother or caring about people that I knew, other scientists who might have actually been communists. But you're not going to sit there and call me a communist. But I will defend my friends. He's like, I'm not going to rat my friends out when I know they've done nothing wrong other than have differing beliefs than you. Which is respectable. I mean, in the end, he was exonerated of everything, and all these people came out and were like, the fuck? He's the most patriotic man we know, He loves this country. That's why, even though he fucking, before the Manhattan Project started, when everything came out and when he was first introduced to it, he didn't want to build a bomb that was going to kill all these people, but he did it because he was a patriot, and he did it because he knew if Germany gets the bomb first, we're all fucked. So even though it was something he didn't want to fucking do, he was, loyal enough to go, well, I understand we need to do this. So, I mean, he did get exonerated from, being smeared as being a communist and all that shit, but he had to deal with that shit for years before that finally happened. So, anyway, it was a very good movie. I liked it quite a bit. And as I've said now 3 fucking times, go watch this movie. It was good. It was very good. Very good. And from everything I've known about it, the points at which we know, okay, these are the events in his life that did happen because it's history, right? It was accurate. Like I said, I'm sure there was a lot of shit in there when it came to personal interactions and conversations he had with people that were dramatized for the purpose of a movie. And you know what I mean? That's just going to be how it is. But as far as the big major historical points of this movie, it was all dead on accurate, at least from everything I've read about him and the Manhattan Project and what was going on in the country and all that kind of stuff. So I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. So I guess Duke just fucking went to sleep because he just fucking left. I don't know where the hell he just at some point dipped out because I guess he decided to not subject us to
He
his
left a message in the private chat.
He what?
He put a message in the private chat.
Oh, I see. Okay. It's like my son needs me. Yeah, for a nap, motherfucker. I got you. Anyway. But yeah. Michael out there in the chat says, do you like the actor they chose for Oppenheimer? Yeah. Now I'm blanking on his name. Yes, I actually like that actor. He's been in a bunch of stuff that I like and have watched before. In fact, one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time is Sunshine, and he's the main guy in that. Why am I blanking on that actor's name? Everybody knows.
Also Thomas Shelby.
The what?
Blinders. Thomas Shelby,
Oh, yeah.
Tiki Blinders.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been in a lot of shit, and I don't know why. For some reason, I can't fucking remember his name. But no, he did a great fucking job. He did a really good job, and everybody in that movie did a great job, honestly.
He's also the Scarecrow in the Nolan series.
Yeah, he was Scarecrow in Batman Begins. I guess was his biggest part in that movie, in those movies. He had minor parts in the other two movies, but yeah, he did a great job. Everybody did a great job. Like, I'm not a big fan of Matt Damon, but he did a good job. Like, everybody nailed their roles, you know. And granted, this wasn't like these are based on real people, so I'm not gonna sit here and say how authentic they were to the actual person. You know what I mean? Because these people, I don't know any of these fucking people personally, right? But I can say I didn't feel like anybody was miscast for the part they were in. You know, obviously there was a lot of actors in it that I either didn't know or I'm like, I think I've seen them in something before, but couldn't really put my finger on it. So, you know, for those people, yeah, they did great because I don't really know, you know, but you know how sometimes, like, we all know who Matt Damon is. And if he's doing a role where you just feel like that Matt Damon was not the right person to play this role, like, you would know it, right? You know what I mean? So for the actors that you do know in the movie, none of them felt miscast or anything. It was good. It was well done. Yeah. So when it's available to stream somewhere, I will probably watch it again. So, although, yeah, you're right. They you know, it's all just a bunch of white actors in the movie, so maybe it won't get nominated for anything, or maybe it'll get nominated, but it won't win. Although then they could just say, well, it is full of Jewish people. So, is that diverse enough? Is it diverse enough for you?
It's divisive enough.
What's sad, they'll probably give Flash awards and not this.
Fucking hell. Yeah, no, Flash deserves absolutely nothing but ridicule, honestly. Like, I went back and watched that. So I saw it twice at the movies, and then I watched it again a week or something ago. I can't remember. I watched it again because you can stream it now. And that movie just gets worse every time I watch it. Every time I watch it, I like it less. I'm just like, and I didn't hate the movie or anything. Like, there was cool stuff in the movie, but the more I watch that movie, the less I like it. So, yeah. Anyway, Michael out there in chat says Matt Damon was in the movie. Yeah, Matt Damon plays a general in the movie. So, and does a good job. So Robert Downey Jr. is in the movie. There's a lot of well-known actors in this movie, and they all did a great job. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Eduardo says, "Is the movie playing in Japan?" I don't know. That's a good question. I wonder if it's in Japan.
That is a good question.
It is basically a documentary.
Yeah.
I did a quick Google search, and the bomb that was dropped over Hiroshima was detonated 600 meters above ground. And
Yeah, so
Nagasaki, and Nagasaki was about 1,650 feet. So,
Yeah,
pretty
so
much
both
about the same
were,
height.
yeah, so both were a few football fields up in the air. I remember it was a few hundred yards or something like that. So, Yeah.
I wonder how that compares to like modern day, like what they do now or whatever. You know what I mean?
No, I didn't
Is
look.
it different, or is that the same method or the same height, relatively speaking, or whatever?
I feel like, and I could be completely wrong because I'm not a physicist. I feel like the more powerful the bomb, the higher up you would have to detonate it, right? To get
the point is that you get like maximum destruction out of it, right? Because if you blow it up on the ground, beyond
you
like
get less
the
destruction,
everything,
but more. Yeah, you get less destruction, but you get more radiation damage.
right? Which you don't really want that, right? You want to kill everything and wipe it off, wipe it clean, but then send your troops in without getting them sick.
Yeah. But let's see. Hold on. Yeah,
I learned something this week. Probably came close to, like, without even knowing it, to like United States wiping out North Carolina and probably parts of Virginia. And when they were in the 60s, they were flying do like hot lapping, like when they were keeping nukes on a plane, hot lapping.
Yeah.
One of the planes crashed in it went down and crashed in North Carolina with 2 nukes in it.
I didn't know that one, but I know there's been several times because there's been declassified shit that's come out where there's been several times that planes with nukes on them fucking went down. A couple times in the ocean, a couple times on land, and like they never told anybody because they didn't want anybody to know this shit was fucking happening.
They had 6 fail-safes on the bombs.
Yeah,
all but one was
like
tripped on each bomb, but each bomb was a different fail-safe on each one, so it's just pure luck. They didn't just nuke North Carolina off the map.
I knew that I didn't know it was North Carolina, but I knew that there was some sort of like nuclear fighter jet thing that crashed.
Oh, it's happened about like 5 or 6 times.
It was on like
they had to go send specialty teams out, and they were all worried that it was going to blow up.
Yeah, well, because I remember I was reading was some article. This was a few years ago about one of them that crashed, and I want to say this was somewhere on the West Coast, but I may be wrong. It was somewhere close to the coast, and they were afraid that the internal components and everything had ruptured, so they sent full like hazmat teams in and shit because they thought for sure it was going to be just like fucking leaking radiation and shit, even though it didn't go off. And then fortunately it fucking wasn't, but like
they dropped one on Greenland by accident too.
Well, I mean, if that housing, like there's like radioactive shielding housing, it's got plutonium and uranium and other stuff in it or whatever, Yeah. If that breaks open, then yeah, like there's
that's what they thought had happened.
Right.
When it crashed, and they were like, "Oh, we just irradiated the coast or some shit." Daniel dropped in a super chat, says, "Can I have mod status so I can say dirty words?" Yes, I gave you mod status. And he says the Japs love a good World War II movie. Do they though? I don't know if they do or not. I feel like if it's a movie about their emperor, then they might. I don't know. Although I don't think it's really something that their culture and society has changed so much because of World War II that it's not typically something you see culturally that they seem to attach to. Like in the United States, we are very culturally attached with pride and things like that of World War II. You know what I mean? And they are not. Now, I think a lot of that is intentional. We spent a lot of time.
The German history books, like if you go to like German public school, are they like, your ancestors were terrible people who did these terrible things, and you better never do it, and blah blah blah?
No, they're taught that they were tricked.
Yeah,
the German people were duped and tricked into believing into a false narrative, and there's ownership. There's definitely ownership. There's ownership is taught. And
that's probably the closest thing to the truth, though. Honestly, most people were probably tricked into.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Just like most people were tricked into COVID things, you know.
Yeah, and
have you seen that like a recent like the like it was like a news article and like on social media or somewhere on the news channel like that? Anti-Semitic hate crimes are the highest it's ever been in Germany. Really?
I don't think so.
There might have been a time where it was a little bit higher than that.
Maybe.
there's
Maybe.
a
I don't know. I'll have to do some research.
Yeah,
I'll get
we'll
back.
have to look into that.
it's more
Look into that. It might be wrong.
there's a lot of ownership. There's a lot of like implications of, hey, you would not have done anything different had you had been there, and had you had been German, you would have accepted that. Oh, look, I've got a job, and everyone has a job, and things are looking up. And oh, well, we hear about these things, but that's not really true. Or these things are going on. Well, we really can't believe that. So my personal belief is more on the, hey, yeah, judge, like it's like people who judge harsh like 300-year-old history. Like, yeah, you have the right to judge that as you sit in your comforted home. You've had rights, you have knowledge, you have the ability to read and write, you went to school, you've had food. Like these people didn't. Like, it's just, I don't know. People are really harped on like just a few generations ago. Like, you would do the same thing, man, in their position. Don't act like you're better.
No, here's a little geek related with what you watched today. Alan Oppenheimer, the voice of Skeletor, is third cousins of Robert Oppenheimer.
Oh, he's related?
Yeah.
So well, I missed the part. Did you like the movie?
I loved the movie. I think it's the best movie that's come out this year.
Okay, so I should go see it then?
Yeah, yes, you should. It was very good.
Okay.
It was very good.
So I learned something crazy today and kind of geek related. The Wizard of Oz, right? I forget the name of the guy who wrote the book originally. Well, there's a guy who wrote a book and then they made it into
Philip K. Dick. No, that's not who wrote the book.
I don't know who it is. Doesn't matter.
I know the name of the person. If you said it, I'd be like, yeah, that guy. I can't remember off the top of my head, though. Can't remember his name.
So they are putting props together for the movie, and they want the wizard to have a jacket. So, but they want it to look like beat up and old but dignified. So they go to a thrift store and buy a jacket and put it on him, and he wears it. And then one day when they're filming, he looks in the pocket, and it's a piece of paper that says property of the dude's name who wrote the book.
Oh, wow.
So the guy who wrote the book owned the jacket, died or whatever, got older and sold it to a thrift store. When they were making the movie, they bought that jacket from the thrift store to put on the wizard, and without knowing where it came from.
Yeah. Thank you, Real Glass 3222 says Frank Baum. Frank Baum.
There we go. That's what it is.
Yeah. Daniel dropped in another super chat, says, I think the ones in Greenland, they never recovered. Oh, that's good. There you go. Good times. A good thing we don't have to worry about Greenland being like a terroristic nation or anything. So I guess that's a plus.
I mean, it's a significant area in risk, though. That's all I gotta say. So,
yeah.
One of them was North Carolina. They only recovered.
So I know there actually is, like, essentially for all intents and purposes, an ark in Greenland, right? Like that's real. Where we've stored, it's a what do they call it something, and I can't remember the name of it, but they have like DNA from lots of species they keep there. They have
the seed vault,
seeds and all kinds of stuff. It's not just a seed vault. There's more than that in it. But does anybody think on top of that either in that same vault or also in Greenland, there's like, you know how there's always these fucking conspiracies that there are like bunkers built there that people can go to if there's ever like some end of the world shit going on, you know?
Oh yeah, that's on the rise. There's a huge need for all that. In the past couple of years, that stuff is off the chain with bunker building and storage supplies, and like not just underneath your home, but like destinational like bunker areas to go hide out in should things go bad. That's on the rise, and it's been on the rise since COVID. Those guys that make those like in-placed bunker ones are like 3 years backed up. You know what I'm talking, like the prefabbed ones that are poured, and you just set them into like an area. They're saying they can't. They're like 3 years backed up right now.
Yeah.
Dude, I wish
if I had the money, I would absolutely have a bunker somewhere. Like,
dude, it used to be like a common thing. Like everybody had bunkers back in the day if you could afford it, and they would have like plans that the government would provide. That you buy this amount of cinder blocks and this amount of whatever, and dig this hole this deep, and then you can have this amount of space.
Yeah.
Like they had plans that you could have. Well, I'd say download, but like they would send out to you or whatever.
Yeah, I saw this documentary one time. And it was about these people who had they had like a bunker. And this was back in like the 1950s or 1960s or something. And like a fucking nuke hit. At least they thought it did. And they went into their fucking bunker. Turns out it was like a plane crash. But they thought it like a nuke had hit. So they went down in their bunker. And while they were down there, like the lady ended up having a baby in this bunker. And they didn't know if it was safe to like come out. So they actually stayed in the bunker for like 30 fucking years thinking like shit had actually gone wrong. And then one day, like when the kid's grown up, like he actually goes out into the fucking world to see if like they think it's going to be like fucking just Mad Max times, living hell, mutants and shit. He comes out, turns out everything's fine, but he doesn't fucking know any better. You know what I mean?
They're
still thoroughly convinced that it's the world after a fucking nuke. And
you had me longer than you should have.
He had a bunch of old like baseball cards and shit, that were worth tons of money from like the 50s and 60s, and like stocks and shit. So it turns out they were actually rich because they stayed down there so fucking long. It was a pretty good documentary. I can't remember what it was called, but it was good. It was good. Dude looks suspiciously a lot like Brendan Fraser. It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
That movie really takes me to it's like a blast in the past thinking about that documentary.
It is. But it's a great documentary if you've never seen it. So,
and didn't the family have stock in like IBM or something like that?
Too? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they were really, really fucking. They were set for life after all was said and done.
If I was building a house,
mm-hmm.
It's only going to be like an extra $20,000. And what's an extra $20,000 when you're building like a $200,000, $250,000 house?
Yeah.
To have like a serious bunker.
Oh yeah, you're right. Depending on where you build it, it can cost more or less depending on the land and that kind of shit. But like, yeah, I mean, to pour the extra concrete and rebar and fucking reinforce it and shit, you're right. It relatively speaking, it wouldn't cost that much extra money to do that. Now, what would cost more money is not the structural, but however you ended up using it and setting it up for your family and shit like that.
Yeah.
But just to pour the bunker, just to get the base structure of the bunker done, it'd
be cool to have like a second basement. You know what I mean? Like the exact footprint of the house. And like, there's the basement, and everyone can go down to the basement and play shuffleboard or whatever it is, the game room down there. But then there's a secret trapdoor in the basement that leads to the sub-basement, which is actually the bunker that has steel reinforced concrete, like the fucking steel door, all like whole nine, dude. How much food would you need to last for 30 years?
Oh Lord, a lot.
Like,
and you need more than just food. You need the ability to grow foods too.
Well, you would need medicine, and you would need like the ability.
You need a lot of shit. I mean, you're talking to build a bunker to last 30 years. You're talking probably at the very least a $1 million investment. So,
but like, give me a scenario. There's no like. I don't see a scenario where you would need to stay underneath for 30 years.
No, I don't either.
Even like nukes going off, there is some time where you're going to be able to like boogie out.
You basically want to avoid the nuke cloud.
I remember that anthology sci-fi series like that where the guy had built a bunker, and he was showing it to his friend, and the nuke went off, and they were in there for a long time, but the radiation levels never started going down. Ended up the government put a dome over top the town where the nuke went off, so they were trapped forever.
I don't remember that. What is that?
It was like Outer Limits or Tales from the. I forget what it's like. An anthology sci-fi series. Like,
do you remember that movie came out maybe like 20, maybe 15 years ago? It's called At Your Door, and it was about a fiance and like the dude in the chick. And
that movie was fucked up. That movie it takes place in LA, and somebody sets off a fucking dirty bomb in LA.
Yeah.
And this dude gets so like, and I mean, he does everything that you would think you're supposed to do. You know, he's alone in the house. His fiance is like gone. You know, he's like talking to her on the phone and shit. And you know, he seals off his house completely with plastic and duct tape and locks himself in and all this shit, just to at the end of the movie be told that because of the type of dirty bomb it was and all that kind of shit, he needed to get the fuck out. And that now at this point, I can't remember how long he was in the house, but he had been trapped in the house with like fucking radiological particles or some shit. And so the movie ends where basically like he finds out he fucked himself.
Because he wouldn't let her in. And she's
he wouldn't let her in the house.
And she's begging to be let in. And he's like, no, I can't or I'll die. And you know, you already were exposed. And she's like, but I'm your girlfriend. He's like, I don't care if you're my girlfriend.
Yeah. And then he just fucked himself.
Yeah.
The whole time he finds out in the end he's gonna fucking die. Because he trapped himself in there with the shit or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
Was it a dirty bomb or I can't remember what the fuck it was.
It was like a
or was it a virus or something? I can't remember what the fuck it was.
No, it was some and you know, it was some horrible thing like that. It wasn't anything like that, you know.
Yeah, I've seen that movie once, but it was a fucked up movie. Like, it's not the kind of movie you want to watch more than once.
You watch it once, it's like an experience movie. You watch it once, you're like, okay, that was horrible.
You know this movie I saw? I gotta remember. What the fuck was the name of this movie? It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Oh fuck, what was it called? I'm gonna look this up. This is how bad this movie is. I'm gonna look this up real quick.
Okay, while you're looking that up, I think inevitably the human race in the long term is doomed, right? Either very, very small chance that we like evolve into the next thing and like keep going on and spread to other fucking lands, other worlds and stuff, or we blow each other up and ourselves up, or God comes along, let's say, and sends a meteor our way, or a giant super volcano, or whatever it is, and tidal waves and shit take us out. But what do you guys think it'll be? Will it be us, or will it be God? And what will it be from us or from God that ends the humanity?
I think right now humanity's too chicken shit to do anything to kill ourselves, to be honest with you. I'm not worried about like a fucking nuclear war or anything like that. I'm far more concerned, obviously, now that somebody's going to fuck up and release a goddamn virus that they were experimenting on or something. Like, that's more likely than a nuclear war.
Yeah, I would say that, or like changes. Like the world is changing, and where people were able to live for a long time and fish and eat is changing. Once that gets to a point where people can't eat and live where they have been eating and living for a long time, and things shift, or just like the world just gets like a lot harder to live in, that's when the game changes.
Okay, do you guys know what the Tunguska event was? 1910, I believe.
Yeah, in Russia.
Right. Had a radius of roughly 150 feet, blew up like 150 square miles of trees in the middle of nowhere where no one lived, right? But had that happened over Paris or, you know, like some major city somewhere, it would have leveled a good portion of the city and killed a whole bunch of, and we would definitely know about everything about it today, you know, and like having that threat of stuff whizzing by the planet all the time that we're only tracking like a small percentage of, right?
Yeah.
I think it was just the other day I saw a article about I don't know, it was something that was like multiple times bigger than Tunguska. that flew by between the Earth and the Moon was how close it was, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't know about it until 3 days after it already flew by.
Yeah. And that happens all the time,
all
by the way. That happens all the time
imagine-
when we know about it, so that you know it happens 100 times more than that when we don't know about it.
So within living memory, we saw Shoemaker Levy 9, right? We saw the comet Shoemaker come into the inner, almost to the inner solar system. It didn't make it past Jupiter, right? But that's the guardian of our solar system is Jupiter because it sucks everything up. Or about a 10% chance it sends it flying, careening, and split apart into the inner solar system where we live, and then that inevitably crashes with us. It happened 12,000 years ago. It happened, with the dinosaurs and other things. It's been multiple extinction events that happen from these comets and meteors coming in. Like,
well,
unless
there's a reason why. There's a reason why we still exist on this planet, and that is because our solar system has been set up in a way that makes Earth very hospitable. Between what you're talking about with Jupiter, the asteroid belt, our proximity to the sun, and I'm not just talking about from a perspective of that's why it's not too hot or too cold, but from the perspective of the gravitational forces in our solar system, the gravitational forces and mass that our moon adds. It's been protecting us for a very long time from things and all kinds of stuff. Like this is why we've survived as long on this planet as we have, given the fact that the vast majority of the universe is a very, very destructive fucking place. So it's only places like Earth that long term can species survive long enough to actually get to the point to where we now can have the knowledge to understand how lucky we fucking are being here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, humans have been on this planet for what, like 250,000 years, give or take?
It depends, but yeah, I mean, we've seen
Homo
signs
sapiens?
of civilization. We see signs of civilization going back at least 250,000 years. Suspected maybe longer than that. Maybe by
It's civilization or humanity? Because there's signs of humanity going back that far. Signs of civilization. The oldest thing that we have is Göbekli Tepe right now.
Well, yeah, which is what 11,000? Is it 11 or 13,000?
It dates to around the time of the end of the Ice Age, about 12,000 to 13,000 years ago, when it was buried, when it was intentionally buried. So it's older than that when it was built, but they buried it at that point. I don't know. It's just crazy, dude. That kind of thing can happen, and we're not even. We have the technology. If we were really focused on it, we're so focused on CO2 and all these other fucking weird things that humanity's focused on because it's going to be our doom. And these fucking giant pieces of rock the size of skyscrapers are whizzing by us at fucking 10 times the speed of a bullet. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, let me get this super chat here from Daniel. Daniel says, I have at least more than $20,000 installed. Daniel has all kinds of shit. Daniel fucking watched Jericho a lot. That's what Daniel did and got inspired, fucking got ready for nuclear war. That's the only reason he has a machine shop, honestly. He's just building himself a bunker. The fuck was I going to talk about? I don't know. We were talking about the end of the world.
I don't know. Here, real quick, that Brendan Fraser movie you're talking about is Blast from the Past.
Blast from the Past. I know. I was just fucking around.
Oh.
Well, as I said, that was a blast from the past. I was thinking about that documentary.
Yeah. I mean, all we would need really though is a team to fly up on a rocket and land on the asteroid, and then drill into it.
But we got to find some of the best drillers on the face of the planet. Some real roughnecks.
And we'll put them with a couple astronauts so that the astronauts.
But they have to be very quirky and very diverse personalities.
Right, right. And they'll never pay taxes again.
Never pay tax again, and they'll want to spend a weekend in the Lincoln bedroom.
Right.
Hopefully, no one gets face madness.
One of them wants to bring back 8 tracks, I don't know if we can do that.
I don't know if we can, but like it's I'd be down for it.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love
How's
that.
good Tyler looking these days? I haven't thought about it.
Not bad. Not bad.
She's going to be in Marvel here pretty soon, so they're bringing her back to play Betty.
The third Captain America movie is basically going to be a Hulk movie.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. All right. There was a trailer that dropped this week that I must tell all of you about because it looked glorious. And I highly recommend everybody go check out this trailer.
Barbie.
It's called The Retirement Plan. It is Nick Cage's new movie. It looks like the greatest thing in the world I've ever seen. It is about an old dude who is estranged from his daughter. Then one day, this is all in the trailer, by the way, I'm not spoiling anything. Then one day, his granddaughter shows up and says her parents have been kidnapped and she needs his help to rescue them. To which then it is a full 2-minute trailer of watching old man Nick Cage with like long white hair and a white beard, looking like old man Jesus, proceed to just horribly kill and mutilate terrorists in the most awesome of ways for a whole 2-minute trailer before ending on the note of like another character coming on screen with the daughter and her saying, my dad was an assassin, wasn't he? And he goes, yeah, your dad was an assassin. So it's old man assassin Nick Cage just killing people a la Punisher for a movie. And I could not be more for this. It looked fantastic. I highly recommend everybody check this trailer out. I wanted to spread the word. I don't know when this movie comes out, but I am definitely going to see this fucking movie when it comes out. Whenever the fuck that is, I hope it comes out soon because I so very much want to see this fucking movie. It looked fucking great. So everybody should watch this trailer and enjoy the gloriousness of The Retirement Plan as I have. I've actually watched this trailer several times. It's a highly entertaining trailer. I would play it on the show, but I don't feel like getting a copyright strike. So there you go. Because apparently promoting a fucking movie will get your YouTube channel taken down. How the fuck we've gotten to that point on YouTube, I don't know. I'm literally want to just play a trailer to promote something for the people that made it. But YouTube will give me a copyright strike. Makes no goddamn sense.
The whole thing is created to promote the thing. It's designed to promote the thing.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. But it's happened to me before, so I'm not going to show you the trailer. But anyway,
I just watched it. Check it out. It's pretty good.
But yeah. So I wanted to share that with everybody. I also watched, and Jared, you may be interested in this. I watched the new DC animated movie Justice League War World.
I've been meaning to watch that.
It was not good. Like I was bored the whole time.
I started to watch it the other day. Then on the website, it had a lot of like text. It was like a screener. It says it's HD, but it was clearly something going on with it.
Yeah, that's where I watched it.
But it starts out weird, and I was like, this is boring.
It's broken up into 4 sections. It's a 4-part movie. The first part is Wonder Woman in the Old West fighting Jonah Hex, who's now a bad guy somehow.
Yeah, remember he's an ex-Confederate soldier, so he's got to be a bad guy now.
The second part is Batman, Bruce Wayne, thrown back into some fantasy world where he's fighting Warlord. Does anybody remember Warlord from the 70s and 80s in DC Comics? He's fighting Warlord. And then the third part is Superman in the like 1930s or 40s as I think an FBI agent or something like that, investigating a spaceship crash landing in which... And then the fourth part of the movie is just them being returned to a reality where, I don't know if this was pulled from a comic book story. I've never read this comic book, but all 3 of the adventures where Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman are doing their own thing in like alternate times before they get like pulled back to reality. is all boring as shit. I wasn't entertained by any of it. And then the fourth act of the movie where they're back in reality and Martian Manhunter's there and it's some big alien thing, which I wasn't expecting because my knowledge of Warworld has to do with like fucking Dark Side and shit. So that's what I was expecting at the end of the movie. Mongol, sorry, not Dark Side, Mongol. And there was a character who at first I thought was Mongol. Like you see him from like the side and he's got the yellow skin and shit. And I was like, oh, okay, Mongol's going to show up. Here we go. But then it wasn't Mongol. It was like somebody else completely who also had yellow skin, but is like a tall, skinny dude who looks like he's about 10 feet tall with long arms that hang down to his fucking, mid shins. And then I think at some point, then there's white Martians involved. And then the movie ends with them talking about a crisis is coming. It was a weird fucking thing that I don't think was ever actually a comic book story, and I was thoroughly unentertained through the entire fucking movie. Like I would say it fucking sucked.
It was
really disappointing.
You got to watch out for those white nationalists.
The white Martians, yeah. And I usually, and for the better part of 15 years, have loved just about every DC animated thing that they have put out. It's all been really, really good. This was not. So I was very disappointed because I like the DC animated stuff for the last 10 or 15 years has been fucking great. I haven't absolutely loved all of it, but it's all been good. And a lot of it I have absolutely loved. But this just bored the shit out of me. Didn't make any fucking sense. Didn't feel like it was pulled from any storyline I've ever read or even heard of. And I just cannot recommend it. And I hope I hope this is not the future of DC animated shit, because I've been a huge fan of DC animated stuff for a long time, and this was just fucking bad.
I tried watching it and it couldn't figure it out, and then I was like, well, maybe I was tired or something. I tried again and I still couldn't keep up. It was so slow and boring, so I'm glad I wasn't going on that.
Yeah, and you watch all the DC animated stuff just like I do.
Yeah, I was trying. I'm like, I must have been in a bad mood or something. I'm gonna watch again because it's like, it's like cowboy shit, like you're saying. It's kind of like, at least I was thinking it was like a Animatrix or something, because it was like pieces put together, and I usually like that kind of thing. But no, it was too boring.
Yeah, it bored the shit out of me. And even the end, when they get back to the real world and they're all like, oh, yeah, we're not through time in different places again. Like, it still didn't make any fucking sense and was still boring.
I lost me.
And
back in the day, did you like more Marvel or DC? Like, before they were all like, because obviously I would say today, like, Marvel is the clear leader and has better storylines and better characters and stuff like that. But back in like 1990, that was more of an argument, I feel like. You know what I mean? So
no, it wasn't. Marvel's been better. Marvel's been better my entire life.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yes, but
I don't think Jared, you don't agree.
People in 1990 who would make the opposite argument.
Agree with that.
I know Jared likes DC better.
What DC movies were there in the 90s though?
Now, Marvel, though.
Well, it was the
like Marvel. I like the Hulk. I like Ghost Rider, and I like the Young verse with the Spider-Girl.
Yeah, I've always been, even though, and I've told this story many, many times, my first comic books were all Superman shit, and I still to this day love Superman. But like for me, and I think it's a personal thing, for me, I've always liked Marvel better. I've always thought Marvel had better characters and better crossovers and better stories and shit. Keep in mind, I don't read modern Marvel where it's gone all woke and shit. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I've read everything from, early 60s Marvel, 70s Marvel, 80s, and 90s. And that's throughout those 4 decades of consuming Marvel content versus also consuming a lot of DC content, including what I started out reading, which was 60s and 70s Superman. I still like Marvel better.
They're currently in a competition who could be more woke.
Yeah, which is a shame.
They don't care
like
through the story.
Everyone's doing that these days, though. I mean, is that a the ESG stuff going around.
So did you see this DC thing that's like a 4-part thing about DC? Maybe it's 3 parts. I think it's 4 parts.
I've watched all 3 parts. It was actually pretty good.
So the last part of that, I think he pretty much addresses that. He goes, look, if you don't like comic books, then wait about 10 minutes and comic books will be different. He's like, comic books reflect the nature of the time and they're going to experiment and do things. So if you don't like something, hold on and it'll be different.
Well, Marvel has been.
That's well, Jared, if you haven't seen it, it's Lin Wein, however the fuck you say his name. Yeah, he's in that documentary in the last episode.
I'm trying to find it. It's under the series.
It's called DC. I forget what it's called. It's a brand new docu-series that just dropped.
Right? It's on the first couple of pages, I thought.
Yeah. Anyway, and it's 3 episodes, I think, is all it is. And I watched all 3 episodes, and in like the very last episode, he's like, look, they're through every period of time, going back to the when comics started in the 1930s as they are today. He's like, there's always been large groups of people who didn't like what was going on in comics. He's like, comics change all the time. He's like, if you don't like comics right now, he literally says it. He's like, wait 10 minutes, it'll change.
Well,
like, comics go along with whatever is popular at the time. That's what they do because they're a reflection of culture and society at that particular time. And he's like, if you don't like it, wait 10 minutes, it'll change.
It's all good and deal during his time, but right now comics are on their death rolls. It's hard to.
Well, I think what the combination is for me is there have certainly been periods of time in comics, the 90s being the one I remember the most because it happened in my lifetime. But this also happened in the 1960s and 1970s as well, where because of the things that were going on in comics versus what was going on in the real world, not sometimes because it was mirroring what was going on in the real world, and sometimes because it was counter to what was going on in the real world. There have been multiple times in comics history where it was like comics are dead. The difference was that we didn't have the internet at those times. And now you've got comics trying to kill themselves at the same time when just the idea of consuming any form of media outside of the internet is a dying idea unto itself. So you've got comics killing themselves. Like in my lifetime, it was in the 90s when everything was extreme and there was a lot of shitty stories and they were ruining a lot of characters with they were ruining Superman, they were ruining Spider-Man. I mean, they didn't even know where the fuck to go with the Spider-Man clone saga in that last, 4 fucking years. Superman got killed and brought back, and then they turned him into 2 different creatures, the red and blue dude, Superman power, fucking whatever. Like, they were hardcore trashing comics in the 90s. And between that and the collector's market disappearing, like, comics could have died in the 1990s. There was very few comic companies. I mean, Dark Horse, which had previously made great shit and was still making great shit in the 90s, despite what Marvel and DC were doing to the comics market.
Spawn
still fucking was dying because people just didn't give a shit as much about comics anymore because Marvel and DC were ruining fucking comic books and stories and characters. Like, the comic book industry almost died in the 1990s. Marvel went fucking bankrupt and almost died in the 1990s. Like, but there wasn't a public consciousness of like, this is no longer a medium we want to consume just in general. There is today. Today, people don't want to consume physical media. So not only is comics going through a patch that's now lasted about 7 years of, political bullshit, that people don't want to read these stories and don't like what's happening to these characters, but also people were already moving away from the medium, physical media altogether, which between those two things could ultimately put the death nail in the coffin of fucking comic books. So
you say that comic books were like a product of their time. Was there a post 9/11 Spider-Man fighting like Islamic terrorists?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to get one of those.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, the Marvel comics
this DC thing with the 3 parts
spent a lot of time and there was a lot of stories about terrorism and things like that after 9/11.
Like Wolverine ripping apart, like.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
this DC show, I think it had a pretty good like it was done through the like eyes or the focus was on DC, but they did a really good job of explaining like how Superman and DC started, and then where Batman comes from, and then how Marvel comes up. And most of the time, I've seen this stuff through Marvel, so they just kind of say DC happened and then Marvel, right? Well, in this show, it's like DC happens, Marvel shows up, and then all those ages that Matt's always talking about, where like the 90s and this and that, where the different eras of people being interested or not in these things, they did a really good job of summarizing that, I thought. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, again, it's through the focus of DC. So it's like this artist left DC and became this company, and this artist left Marvel and became this company. But then after a while, all those companies died out. They kind of saturated the market, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But essentially, then they talk about how the properties became the things that were worth money in the movies and that. And it would be interesting to hear your guys' perspective on this. Was that strategic? Was that like happenstance, or was it inevitable? But the idea.
No, well, I mean, they talk about it in that documentary.
More important than the stories or the characters. But
yeah, well, they talk about it in that documentary. That's how Warner Brothers came to own.
Or they wouldn't have existed. Yeah, like they
was because of the Batman TV show in the 1960s sold.
They made it sound like it was
$75 million worth of merchandise, and
but they made it sound like if
Warner
DC
Productions was like, "Hey, we can make money off of the license rights and owning this shit."
But they made it sound like if DC was Tarzan and like he was gonna like DC was failing, and then they grabbed a vine and then they were able to propel themselves way over here, and then they're falling, and then they grabbed a vine. So I guess what I'm asking was, did they really know what they were doing, and then they're just describing it as like, luckily they found this vine, or did they jump towards that vine and say, we're gonna reach for that vine and we're gonna get over there, or was this just like literally the movie saved them? Like I don't know.
It was.
One of the things that saved Marvel back in the day is one of the things that caused a lot of issues with building the MCU. They overextended themselves in the 90s, like basically like trying to. Both companies were in wars trying to keep the bigger market share. Marvel had the bigger market share for a while. It's like with the Malibu Comics Ultraverse. DC Comics was going to buy them. If they bought them, it would have gave them a bigger market share than Marvel. Marvel ended up outbidding them just to keep DC's from getting it. And doing stuff like that helped put them in the red. To save themselves, they actually sold their movie rights to these movie studios like the Fantastic Four, X-Men with the Fox, and Universal got the Hulk, and
Spider-Man with Sony, and
Spider-Man with Sony. That's what happened there. That saved them by selling movie rights. At the time, in the 90s, they never thought the technology would get where they can actually, these companies will, or they had even thought about building their own movie universe. So it wasn't
because they had like Spider-Man movie or the Wonder Woman movie in their brain, right? Like cheesy, a little bit better than Batman, like not making fun of it, but still cheesy and bad effects. And they had that in their head, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, at the time they sold them too. It's like what was the latest Batman movie? The George Clooney that was like an absolute joke movie.
Yeah. I do like in that documentary though that even in a DC documentary on HBO Max or Max, whatever the fuck they're calling it now, Warner Brothers streaming service, even in that documentary, they were like, yeah, and then Marvel came along and did everything better than us, and Stan Lee came in and did everything better than us. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a pretty.
I did not
of all comics, really.
I did not think they would even mention Stan Lee or really.
They kind of made him look a little bit like a doofus because they showed him like back in the day, but it could also be because they don't have rights to use his shit because they're not. Friends, probably, right?
Well, they had a couple of like clips of him talking in the documentary about stuff and whatever, but
they seem like open source, like old ass shit. Is what I'm saying.
DC, Stan Lee did do basically like Elseworld stories for DC back in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
like his versions of Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern stuff, and they were really, really interesting takes. They were pretty cool.
Who's the dude that left Marvel, got mad at Stan Lee, and then went to DC and made that big comic, and people didn't like it that much, but it was really big? Kirby, yeah. So
Kirby.
What's that comic? Do you guys own that? Is it a good comic, or is it?
New Gods?
Yeah, that one.
I mean, I don't own
Actually, the New Gods are a lot more popular than basically Marvel's equivalent, the Eternals.
So then is that like one graphic novel?
Eternals.
Is it like one graphic novel? Is it a shit ton? Is it like a whole series, or is it?
Yeah, the New Gods spun off all kinds of stuff, including like Darkseid.
Okay. So it's not just one. It's not just one issue; it's a whole series.
Yeah, no. I mean, it started off as one book, but like it became so much more than that.
Okay, so that first book, is that possible to get, or is that like $300?
The 300? No, it's like thousands of dollars, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. Is there a reissue of it? Is it possible to get that economically?
Oh yeah, it's like anything. They've retold those stories multiple. You can get like graphic novels that like compile all those early stories and things.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just seemed interesting the way they described it, and I've heard of that before from Marvel's side before, how Kirby left, and I was just interested to see if that was something to grab. Is it worth grabbing then and looking at it?
Oh, the New God stuff? Actually, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's way better than, again, like what Jared was saying, the Eternals, which is their equivalent of that story. Like the New God story is way more interesting, and yeah, it's good stuff. All right, what was I going to show you guys today? I was going to show you guys stuff.
SDCC toys.
Yeah, toys. It's time for the toy part of the show. There we go. Toy part of the show. And I pulled up a bunch of stuff on Facebook because, like, that's where I've been posting stuff. That's where most of the pictures and things are, including, well, there's your messages, Jared. So, yeah, I pulled up a bunch of stuff on Facebook because there's a lot. It's SDCC. San Diego Comic-Con is this weekend. And because of the whole writer's strike and actor strike and all that shit, there's really no information. Like normally we get lots of new trailers and things like that SDCC weekend, and we can talk about movie trailers and TV trailers and all kinds of cool stuff. None of that shit's happening because of all the strikes. Although, as we've talked about before, a lot of that stuff wasn't happening anyway because Disney, Warner Brothers, it was Disney, Warner Brothers, and one other big movie studio. I can't remember. There was 3 of them. All pulled out of Comic-Con this year to do their own conventions. Disney has a D23 in September, I think. Warner Brothers is going to do their own thing. And then whatever the other studio was, I can't remember if it was Sony or who it was. There was another studio. They all these 3 big studios pulled all their stuff out of SDCC because they're going to promote their stuff on their own time instead of at SDCC. So it was already going to be, when it came to like movies and TV and that kind of stuff, it was already going to be a slow promotional weekend. And then when the actor strike and writer strike happened, it basically just killed it. So really the only thing we're getting out of SDCC this year is comics and toys. What's funny,
I heard about the writer's strike, I pulled out of Comic-Con also.
Yeah.
Really,
after I heard about the fucking writer strike, I pulled out of my wife and was like, "Jesus Christ, babe, you got to hear about this." But no, but what I've been hearing, because I mean, a lot of people that I follow on YouTube and you know that I follow on forums and things that are either comic people, toy people, just general geek people, whatever it is, that go to SDCC. I'm seeing lots of, YouTube videos and posts on forums and posts on Facebook and stuff. And a lot of people are saying it is the best San Diego Comic-Con they've been to in years. Because
it's all about comics and not all
it's all about comics and toys and things. And the big movie studios aren't there. And the lines to go see clips from movies or see new comics or talk to comic creators or talk to toy companies or whatever it is, like just those blocks that people used to have waiting for, an entire day to get into Hall H to watch one fucking trailer. Like none of that stuff is there this weekend. And people are saying they're having a fucking blast at Comic-Con this year, and which I think is pretty cool. So
it's
maybe
when that kind of shit backfires on them, when people try to do that and then it backfires and everybody's like, "Oh, it's awesome that they're not here." That's cool.
And so when those strikes and they pulled out, so nothing of value was lost.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, no, it's cool. A lot of people are saying they're really, really enjoying this year's Comic-Con because all that bullshit that, I mean, is still cool, but it just convolutes Comic-Con so much. And again, I've never been to Comic-Con, so I don't fucking know. But a lot of people are saying that it's actually, you know, been more enjoyable for the people that want to go there for comics and you know, animated stuff and toys and shit like that. They're having a fucking blast. So, I mean, I don't think long term that's sustainable because honestly, with how big Comic-Con's become, it is funded by the fact that these big movie studios and stuff are going. So I don't think long term it's sustainable to keep Comic-Con as big as it has been for the last 15 years without all those movie studios contributing and all that shit. But it is cool that this year, like, the fans are actually kind of having fun and enjoying a little bit of a return to what SDCC used to be. Because I don't think SDCC really didn't become a big media fucking thing until like the late 2000s. It was like 2006, 2007 when that started to become a much bigger thing. And it was like, what was it, 2009? I think it was 2009. Or was it 2008? It was the year before Iron Man came out that Comic-Con actually had to like change locations because of how big it was getting. You know what I mean? And so anyway, so a lot of people, I guess, are enjoying it kind of going back to what it was. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've never been either way. I'd love to go to Comic-Con someday. I just have never been able to go. So anyway, we got some toys to look at today. A lot of stuff coming out of SDCC. We got some G.I. Joe shit here. There's going to be a lot of this shit. I don't know who the fuck these people are. I don't know who this guy is. Jared, do you know who this is? Because I haven't.
I think his name's Trigger.
Trigger? He looks cool. Looks like a bomb disposal tech. I don't know if that's who he's supposed to be, but I'm seeing.
That's it.
I'm seeing the helmet and the little drone and the padding and everything. So we got a G.I. Joe bomb disposal tech that looks pretty fucking cool.
That's his pet rat too.
The what?
That's his pet rat.
Yeah. This dude looks awesome. I'm sure it's going to cost more money because he comes with the dog.
I'm sorry, Tripwire. Tripwire's his name.
Tripwire
looks pretty good. Pretty cool detail in that dog.
But that's cool. I mean, the dog actually looks fully articulated, which is awesome. So I'm guessing this is going to be a set the same way as we got with Crocmaster and Fiona. So this is going to be like a $40 set.
Yeah, similar to the Snake Eyes that came with Timber.
Yeah, exactly. So still cool though.
What color is Timber? Is that a white
I'm gonna be honest with you. I got Fiona over here. She is my favorite G.I. Joe. To have a fully articulated fucking crocodile is fucking awesome. And that is so far my favorite thing that G.I. Joe Classifieds has come out with is fucking Fiona.
Yeah, I picked up an extra one while it was on sale, so I can actually have Crocmaster have two Crocs.
It's the best thing that G.I. Joe Classifieds has done. So this one I'm actually really looking forward to because I want to get that dog.
Roddies are awesome as well.
Yeah, and look at that, he's fully articulated.
Yeah,
that's fucking great. I love that.
And he comes with an alternate head too.
Yeah, look at that. That's great. Again, this dude, I don't know who the fuck this is. He looks mildly familiar, but this must be a new look for. Is this a troop builder? What is this? Or is this a character?
Steel Corps troopers. They're troop builders.
Okay, because that helmet I know I've seen before.
But back in the day, they were called Steel Brigade, I think. So, but Valverse actually secured the name Steel Brigade, so they can't use Steel Brigade anymore because that's like one of Bobby Vala's favorite things. He's got a collection of all the different types of Steel Brigades from the original G.I. Joe line. So he acquired when that name became available. He acquired it. Jacket. And then we got, is this Tomax or Zaymont? One of them, I don't know, in his crimson uniform. I'm looking at it over here, and it's literally just a repaint of one we already got. So I don't give a shit about this because I think that's going to be an exclusive to Hasbro Pulse. It's a 3-pack.
Well, I mean,
are these the ones you have to buy?
Is it the 3-pack that comes with this Baroness?
Yes.
Fuck, because I want that Baroness, but I don't need another Tomax and Zaymont.
I understand completely. I felt the same way. It's like I want the Baroness, but I don't have no desire.
Well, I'm not buying a 3-pack just to get one figure. So
because that 3-pack's gonna be $80.
Yeah, no, fuck that shit.
Minimum.
So anyway, cool figures there. I like that. What else do we have out here? Oh,
these are ones you have to be there to buy.
This right here. So this is the new Sabine from the Ahsoka series. So it's got a little bit more of a realistic look. And this is vintage collection. So this is 3 3/4 inch, which I do collect. But this 3 3/4 inch figure is selling for $28, to which I say, fuck you. There is no 3 3/4 inch figure from Hasbro that is worth $28 motherfucking dollars. What's the
figure? No.
That's Star Wars.
Vintage,
Star Wars.
hard to get, still mint on card type thing. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, if this was like an older figure or something that had some value that's no longer made or something like that, then $28, sure. For a brand new mass-produced Hasbro figure, $28 for a 3 3/4 inch figure? Fuck you. No. I'm sorry. That's no. We're not doing that. What is this, G-Webs? Babylon 5?
Oh, whenever you're done, I got some pictures from a place. I wanted to see if you'd be interested in any of these. I seen them.
Is that like local to you or something?
Yeah. Just at a shelf at a place. It looks like $5.
Oh, really? $5? That's cool.
I think so.
Babylon 5?
So it looks like, right?
I've got that Polaris right there next to him.
Well, I was going to say, so you want to look at them? I got a couple of pictures here.
Yeah, show me some pictures, and then we'll get on with the other stuff.
So there's a
Star Trek
Cadet
Data. Yeah.
And then I would have thought that was lore.
They don't have a ton of them. This might be all of them. And then this kind of weird Wolverine, I guess. Oh, and then...
Oh, that's cool. Lady Deathstrike. I like that.
You know what that is? Okay.
I don't actively collect those, but I used to. I actually had that Storm.
Okay. I just figured, I think that's all of them. I just figured it'd be worth showing you in case there's something that's worth something.
Do you know what happens when you hit a toad with lightning?
The same thing that happens to everything else. Worst fucking line in a comic book movie. Maybe. No, scratch that. There's way worse lines in fucking Batman and Robin. Never mind. Yeah, this would be a cool fucking figure to have if it was a normal, realistic price for something like this. But it's not. So fuck that shit. I guess I have 2 of them.
Plus 2, it's in a sealed box where you can't even see the figure.
Yeah.
Holy rusted metal Batman.
Okay, first of all, we got to look at this. There's no way in fucking hell that I will buy this because it is too goddamn much money.
Well,
but this is the most awesome looking fucking toy spaceship I've ever seen in my life. This thing is almost 3 feet long. It is over 2 feet wide, over a foot tall. It is so detailed. It comes completely apart.
$500.
500. I'm not. Look, there's no way I'm ever going to own this. It's too much money.
Plus tax and shipping.
But it is without a doubt the coolest fucking action figure spaceship I have ever seen in my life. It just fucking is.
It even has a shuttle on the back.
Yeah.
This
is. That's why I had these pictures up here. It's got a full shuttle that locks into the back of it.
That's like a micro machine size people, though, right? Those are
no. This is not micro machine sized.
It's 3 3/4 inch scale.
This is for regular Star Wars figures. So this is bigger than a Millennium Falcon.
Yep. This thing is like this fucking big.
Okay.
It's made for regular size Star Wars figures.
But it's not even a toy then. It's just for dudes who are adults or whatever that are going to put.
Yeah, this is like kids aren't buying this shit. No.
It takes adult money to buy that thing.
Yeah.
You're looking probably for tax and shipping $550 at least.
Yeah.
Vintage is like the adult line or whatever.
I wonder what the inflation adjusted price of some of the toys that our parents had to buy for us when we were kids is, though. I'm sure some of those were close to $500.
No.
Oh, you mean like the no?
Not back then. right? It'd be like
No, I,
$100.
mean,
With
I think they
inflation
were like
adjusted,
$25 was an expensive one back then.
No,
I'm
no,
saying,
no.
you know,
I've done it
inflation
before.
adjusted.
Like one of the most expensive. Like I think Millennium Falcon, adjusted for inflation, is roughly about what $60 would be today.
Yeah, I was gonna say I knew people with the Millennium Falcon. Couldn't have been that. And I knew one person with a snow. What do you call that? AT-AT. So the AT-AT must have been shit tons. I only knew one person with an.
Yeah.
AT-AT.
Well, again, it was you got to remember. These toy companies now are targeting adults. They're not targeting kids like they used to.
Yeah.
So
And do they make it like we're only
much
making
higher.
300 of these? That's why we can make the price high because there's only going to be so many. And
No, there's going to be probably like 10 to 15,000 of these made.
Oh shit! Okay, they're just making.
I just did like a inflation calculator, like back in 1987. I got a Fort Max for Christmas. Back then, it was very expensive. It was like right at $100. That would be $268. Fortress Maximus.
What is
It's like
that?
at the time the biggest transformer ever made.
Oh, okay.
3 foot tall.
I don't believe that though. $100 in 1987. I feel like that's more than 200 and whatever bucks you just said.
I said $268.58.
Yeah, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right.
Well, it's inflation calculator.
Now with
Yeah.
this thing here,
You're
this
lying,
is
is what I'm saying.
die-cast or this is plastic like our X-wings were.
This is plastic. If it was die-cast, it'd be too heavy to pick up. It's too huge.
Okay. But then
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's got to be like a lot of man hours of people painting that stuff with a brush or whatever, like, and then putting it all together and whatever. Like that's expensive to put together. Maybe not $500, but you know what I mean. It's way more than a regular toy.
It's cool as shit. I tried to get a better picture of this shit here. Now I have stopped giving a shit about McFarlane stuff.
Those are DC collectibles.
Oh, that's
But you
DC
can-
collectibles? See, the
Yes.
picture's so fucking small, I can't tell.
What does that mean?
They're continuing the animated series, Batman and animated series in DC.
Wait,
collectibles.
is this? So I know DC Collectibles. When they did their animated series stuff, was like, what was it, 5.5-inch scale? It wasn't even 6-inch scale stuff.
No, they were 6-inch scale.
Well, because I've seen them before, those DC Collectible. Because I've seen the Batmans at like GameStops and stuff on clearance in the last few years. Because I almost bought some of them, but they were too small. They didn't look 6-inch.
Mine's 6-inch scale.
The ones that came out, you know what I'm talking about. They're not that old. They've been come out in the last few years.
I have a bunch
It
of
was for the Batman, not Batman the animated series. It was the Batman and Robin Adventures, and they had the.
They actually did both series. They did the Batman animated.
Were they both 6-inch scale?
Yeah.
Because they look fucking tiny. Because I remember going to GameStop, and GameStop had a bunch of them on clearance. And I looked at them, I was like, those would be cool to have. And then I looked at them, I was like, those are too small to fit in with anything I have. So I didn't pick them up. Like, they look smaller than 6-inch. I don't know. But they had, like, I remember that saw them on clearance.
One of the things that messes with them, too, they have little feet.
Well, because I saw them on clearance at GameStop just this last year. Remember when they put everything on clearance right before Christmas? They had a bunch of the Batman, the Adventures of Batman and Robin or whatever, and they had like Batman, and I can't remember what other characters they had. A handful of characters, and they were in the clearance section right next to Marvel Legends. And I remember looking at them next to Marvel Legends and going, "Those got to be like 5.5-inch figures. Those look tiny." And so I didn't buy any of them.
What are old He-Mans?
5-inch. He-Man's 5-inch. So Daniel says, I think all transactions should be in FAG coin. No, because that's not worth anything. It won't be anyway. Okay, well, if these are DC collectibles, then I might be slightly more interested in them because I thought it was McFarlane shit. But again, that's because this picture's so fucking tiny.
Well, technically, he is in charge of DC collectibles.
Well, he's in charge of them, but he's not making them. It's not his shit.
Yeah.
He's the distributor for their shit. But I might, if they are actually 6-inch figures, I might be more interested in them. But I swear, the ones I had seen were small. Then there's Magneto. We got Magneto. The more I have looked at this dude, the more I'm like, he's pretty fucking good. Like, he's not as good as my Marvel Select. My Marvel Select's still the best Magneto I have. Best one.
What's got me more excited about this figure than anything, that's a new body. And it looks like it's going to be replacing, it could possibly be replacing the Grim Reaper body, which kind of sucks. And we've been needing a replacement for that for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if those boots, if that's all paint or if that's molded in.
The pictures I've seen, they look molded.
When they make these, the
that is
knees and stuff, are those still metal screws, like the elbows and knees?
No, it's all plastic. It's plastic pins.
There's no metal in them anymore.
No, there's no metal in these. Looks cool, man. That's a good looking figure, though. I'm glad that even though this is for the new X-Men 97 animated series, that this thing is not fucking cell shaded or whatever the fuck they're calling that. Because that's why I haven't picked up any of those animated series figures. I hate that fucking shitty cell shading shit. It looks dumb as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I haven't picked any of them up. So I'm glad they're not doing that with these figures. Because that dude looks pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then this one
here.
This is
a 3D printer, Matt, so that you can just be like, oh, you're 7 foot tall, fucking $500 toy. I'll just print my own, and then you can have your own version of it. And you can paint it and do all kinds of things because you're never enough paint stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is Power Princess, right?
Yes, for the Squadron Supreme.
I saw a bunch of people who didn't know who the hell that was, and I'm like, well, that's Power Princess. It was like, oh, it looks like they're doing Wonder Woman. I'm like, yeah, that's the point of Power Princess.
Yep.
But like everybody I've seen on the forums is like, who is that? I'm like, have you never read Squadron Supreme? So unless I'm way off, because I can't be the only one that realizes that's fucking Power Princess.
I knew who it was immediately because it's her current look.
I did too, but then so many people were like, I don't know who that character is all over Facebook that I was starting to think, am I wrong? Isn't that not Power Princess?
I guess they're just used to her helmeted look.
Maybe because I thought that's why I wanted to ask you. I'm like, that's Power Princess, right? Because like
100%.
I assumed everybody knew that's who that was. But look at these comments. Like people don't know who the fuck that is. So I don't know
who the fuck that is.
I can't believe you don't know who that is, Honda.
Yeah.
Yeah, me either.
Dweeb. We got a new Vision coming. Is this going to be retro card? Do we know?
They haven't said, but the last one was retro card, so I kind of doubt it.
What's
that
the
one
square
looks nice.
part?
It's the Vulcan body.
What's the square part?
Yeah.
In his
Well, this is
abdomen?
better than that fucking Bucky cap that came out last time. So.
Oh yeah.
Why does his abdomen have like that square cut out?
What?
He's got 8-pack abs.
Looks like
That's an
square.
ab crunch.
Yeah, that's an ab crunch. That's articulation.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's an ab crotch. Don't you see the abs in the crotch?
See, this is what happened when people that don't know anything about toys get on a chat about toys.
Sorry. I'll shut up. I'm sorry.
That goes in then so they can lean forward more.
Is this has toticulation, right? From what I can tell from this picture.
I can't tell.
It looks like a little cut right there. Anyway, it's a new fucking MCU Black Widow, which I honestly don't give a shit about. I don't really care. But I'm sure some people will get fucking hard looking at that. So good for them. I don't give a shit about Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner.
No.
Don't care. Mark II Iron Man, cool. I mean, I guess. I may or may not care about this. I don't know. But it's something. Now, you sent me a message about Crystar here.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you said. Was something along the lines of, who the fuck asked for this?
Yeah.
You're talking to him. I want this figure so fucking bad. I fucking love Crystar.
Iceman?
I also love fucking translucent figures. Out of everything I've seen coming out of fucking SDCC, this is the thing I'm most excited about. I so want it. I hope they do all the Crystal Warriors. Like, I swear to God, I really do. Like, I fucking love Crystar. And I don't give a shit who knows it. These fucking things were great back in the 80s. They were much smaller. But to get a modern fucking scale Crystar, in Marvel Legends articulation, I'm very personally excited about. I may be the only one. I'm okay with that because that means there will be plenty of them out there for me to buy. Because I could buy this motherfucker here and repaint the boots and gloves and shit on all of them and have them all be different Crystal Warriors, and I'm fine with that. So I hope nobody gives a fuck about this but me.
Oh,
so when you
Matt, in the private chat, I sent you a bigger picture on Instagram of the Batman animated series figures.
Oh, you did?
When they're clear like that, do you see like the internal parts, or do they rebuild them so that they're less interesting in there?
You can still see, you'll see the internal articulation parts.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see them. It's done. Why the fuck did it disappear?
It's not like they do a different figure.
I can't blow it up and make it bigger. But that does look. Yes, I can now see the articulation to see that it is definitely not.
What about Control Plus? Control Plus should make your screen bigger.
Hold down the control key and wiggle your scroll wheel.
Yes, I know how that works. But if I do that, it does that to all my windows, and I don't feel like fucking doing it. But yes, I want Crystar. Fuck anybody who says different. I don't care. Leave them all for me. I'm fine with that. I like translucent figures. I think they're cool as shit. I used to love them when I was a kid in the 80s. I thought translucent figures were the coolest fucking thing, and I still like them to this day. So I don't give a shit.
That guy's power is his crystal meth sword.
It is. It is.
His main villain is Tuco. He's going to try to crack him and snort him.
You got to watch out for that meth sword, man.
He pokes you with his meth sword, and you're addicted to fentanyl.
It'll fuck you up, man. Don't worry about it.
Does he come from Arizona?
No, New Mexico.
Yeah, that was my second guess.
Does he work for Heisenberg?
He does. He does. That's the wizard boss on the planet. Daniel says, you seem really excited over 6 inches, but I prefer 7. Catloon says, can I have a wrench here? Also, can you read my last chat if you want, but it's off topic? Your last chat says, not bad, actually. So that's your last chat, technically.
I agree.
So I don't know how that's off topic, but I already gave you a wrench. Yes.
That DC Direct Instagram post, if you scroll through them, it's actually got close-up pictures of the figures.
What, this?
The link is it. Hit the arrow button in the picture. Other side, or the green dude's at.
The green dude.
It's not.
Is it where the green dude's at? His midsection.
Ah, there we go. Okay, there we go.
Who's this?
Oh fuck, what's his name? He was I can't remember his fucking name. Captain Condiment. Was that what it was?
Is it really? I was going to say, is that ketchup?
Yeah, I think so.
Mustard?
I think that's what it's. No, I think that's what it is.
That's ketchup and mustard.
Yeah.
If you're like, superpowers, if you go up and order a plain hot dog, he squirts ketchup and mustard on it, and you're like, damn it.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. And
since I no
longer give a shit about McFarlane stuff, like I might pick these up.
Oh,
what's the one next to
click on that dude's name. He's got a close up of Crystar.
Who?
And on that
Right.
there.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I was wrong.
Fuck you.
It was the wrong thing I clicked on.
All right, god damn it. Well, anyway, I want Crystar. I don't give a shit.
There, I'll give you a close up of Crystar.
Yeah, give me a close up of Crystar.
It's in the.
This shit is already on Hasbro Pulse. I can't find enough fucks to not give about this set right here.
Actually, I want that set.
I don't care about an unmasked Peter Parker. People have been kit bashing those for fucking ever. And Smythe, I don't really care about Smythe, honestly.
Smythe is using the same body as Magneto, looks like, the torso anyway.
Maybe, but I don't really care enough about this 2-pack to pay $50 fucking for it.
Who's Smythe?
This dude right here. That's Smythe.
I mean, good guy, bad guy?
Bad guy. Yeah, I just don't care. But we do get Here, I'm gonna open all of these fuckers here. I'm gonna look at all of them.
Oh, remember?
Fuck you, toy haters. I don't give a shit. We're looking at all this shit.
Just remember, like their links don't work properly if you click on the pictures.
Oh, that's right. They don't. Well, fuck. We can see pictures. I don't care.
Because Hasbro Pulse, a multi-billion-dollar company, does not know how to hire somebody that is proper interface.
It does this weird as shit. Blade. This is definitely an animated style Blade, which, I mean, I like the coat. It's definitely an upgrade. It definitely looks more animated. Not any paint on the guy except for on his face. I mean, I'll probably want to pick him up, but it's not like a spectacular figure or anything. It's okay. It's cool. I mean, I feel like, honestly, I look at this dude and I'm like, you know what? Taking that coat off and putting him on my older Blade figure would probably look pretty cool. Like, I don't know. He's okay. He's all right.
Blade versus Wolverine.
Blade versus Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Well, Wolverine, because he can't die, but yeah.
Yeah.
Can Blade die?
Yeah. The Fist Soldier. He likes to fist everyone. Don't worry. Looks pretty cool. He also comes with an alternate head, which was pretty fucking cool. Let me open that one up. He comes with an alternate head. Does it show him with the alternate head on here?
It should.
Yeah, there we go. We get the fucking skull head, which looks cool, which is definitely how I would have him.
Don
How many skull figures or dolls are there?
A lot. There are people that collect nothing but fucking skull figures.
When people,
Right
people call like action figure dolls, we lose viewers.
Yeah. I mean, oh well. Kowloon out there in the chat says, "Fuck yeah, wrench bitches." There you go.
The skull one.
Daniel says, "Is listening to all this doll stuff what led Handler to the bonus hole surgery installation?" Yes, it is.
He's gonna come with 2 different hole options now. You can interchange them.
The bonus and the ultra bonus hole. Luke Cage is good. The classic Luke Cage. I like this.
Yeah.
Is that a linked belt? Like, is that a linked chain?
Yeah, chain link. Yeah, I like it. It's good. It's solid.
What's also good too for this base, now they got this base body, they can give us a classic Doc Samson off this.
Mm-hmm. They never will, of course, because people have been wanting Doc Samson for 20 fucking years, and they never have. But you know, they could. They just won't. So that's good. This I couldn't care less about. Could give a flying fuck.
It's a video game character.
Yeah, it's that Midnight Suns video game fucking thing. Couldn't give a flying fuck about this. I forget this chick's name. What's her name?
Dr. Strange's girlfriend. What's her name?
Yeah, and Clea. Yeah.
The one thing I was talking to Dom last night.
Hmm?
We were looking at some of these pictures. We figured out too, like they're sneaking celebrities' faces on these figures. That's Lady Gaga.
I mean, okay.
And the Storm from the animated series is Jada Pinkett Smith.
Oh Lord, why would they do that?
Because they hate everybody.
Apparently. Yeah, this figure. This is one that I will only get if I want to, like, if I decide I want to build a mindless one, and I will wait till she goes on clearance at Target.
I want a mindless one really bad, which sucks. They made a troop builder, a freaking bath.
Yeah.
Keep stupid. Will Smith's wife's name out your mouth.
This is cool. Hashtag not my Daredevil, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
He might be cool to have. That's a decent figure.
It'll go well with the Daredevil Elektra.
Yeah, I've already got that one. I mean, I don't have it yet, but I pre-ordered that one.
She's nice. I haven't taken her out of packaging yet, but I got her.
Actually, I got an email that it's already been shipped, so I should be getting that sometime in the next few days.
Wait, what do you call this Daredevil?
From Big Bad Toy Store. What?
What was the name of this Daredevil?
It's just Daredevil. He's just in a different costume.
Yeah, with
a beard.
What's with his weird ass pants?
He's got like ninja pants on.
No, those aren't ninja. Those are like some kind of European horseback riding pants or something.
No, those are ninja pants, man. It's from the foot.
Legs are wrapped.
Or the hand.
Okay.
Sorry,
Oh,
this isn't Ninja Turtles.
I know what you're talking about. Okay.
They're like ninja gi.
I got you. I thought there were those high boots like a Lipizan
No.
stallion.
Or what they wear at the Brazilian
He doesn't come
barbecues.
with a riding crop. Okay, they're ninja pants. And then I don't even know who this is. I'm gonna be honest.
Lady Bullseye. It's been a highly wanted figure in the community for a long time.
Who the fuck is Lady Bullseye?
She's like early 2000s. Was a really popular character.
So this was after I stopped reading comics. So yeah, I don't know who the fuck that is.
They put her on a decent body, articulate body too, so it's one of their better bodies.
Yeah, again, this is a figure I will pick up if it goes on clearance because I want to build a mindless one.
The mindless one looks awesome.
The mindless one looks freaking
Why
great.
do you keep saying that? What is that?
Is there a picture somewhere? Yeah, this dude here. You can't really see it. He's a large stone, almost juggernaut-looking figure, but
Oh, it's one of those things where you have to buy all these other figures.
yeah,
to
you
get
buy all
parts
the
for
other
them.
ones and then you piece him together.
Nobody's just going to sell you the part or the dude. That's too expensive.
They do, and in fact, you know, as somebody who's collected toys for a while now, it used to be the best way to finish a Build-A-Figure used to be to like go on eBay and find people who were selling big Build-A-Figure parts. Because if you didn't want the figure, you could get the parts cheaper than you could get for the figure with the parts.
Because you're matching up with somebody who didn't care about the part, right?
Yeah, at some point, people started charging more than retail because without the part, without the figure. I don't know when this changed. Jared, when did this change? I feel like this changed about 2 years ago because that's how I used to put Build-A figures.
I was wanting to stock up on Puff Adder parts, and people were charging the price.
They're charging like $30 for a leg and shit, which is more than the fucking figure with the part cost. And it's insane, or at least it's like $30 once you pay for shipping and shit, which makes no sense. I don't know how these people are selling anything, if I'm honest, because why wouldn't you just buy the figure? You know? Like at that point, why wouldn't you just buy the figure that comes with the piece? So the whole point of buying the pieces individually was because you would pay less doing it that way, and you wouldn't have to buy the whole figure that you didn't really want, but you could get the piece you needed to build the rest of the Build-A-Figure. And I had to stop doing that.
$5.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Build-A-Figure pieces used to cost anywhere from $5 to $10, maybe a couple dollars shipping or something like that. Now, I understand on the older Build-A-Figure pieces, like the old Apocalypse and Galactus and shit like that, because those are no longer made. They're much harder to get. Those had a little more value to them. But like when you hop online now, and I feel like it's been this way for the last couple of years, and it's a brand new figure that's still at stores, you could go buy the whole figure with the piece you need for, you know, whatever retail is, $20 or something. And you hop online to get like, I need that leg, but I don't want that figure. And you hop online and they're selling just the leg for $20 plus shipping. It's like, how is the market sustaining that? I don't understand. I don't understand how the market is sustaining those prices because you can just go buy the figure. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, because probably somebody's putting that whole thing together, selling it for even more, right? Or something like that.
But no, it's not worth that much. Like if you you could seriously just buy the whole Build-A-Figure cheaper than you could buy the individual pieces.
Yep. Most of the
And
time,
it's not like they're still available. Also, it's not like you can't buy one anymore.
And again, if it's an older Build-A-Figure that's harder to find the figures or the parts, I understand the prices go up on that shit. But brand new shit that's out in stores right now, it doesn't make any sense.
well, it's like there's several Build-A-Figures too, like the DC Despero, the DC Universe Classics.
Yeah.
You can buy a Despero cheaper than buying the one rare leg. It's insane. It's like there's one leg. I think it came with Wonder Woman. It's really hard to get. So people are charging like $30-$40 or better for that leg.
Here's my dilemma
for that.
I have two different, you know, because he came with two different heads and two different sets of arms and two different weapons. I have two different, either Odin or fucking old man Thor Build-A-Figures.
Yep.
Both are missing the left leg. Why? Because the left leg costs like 60 or 80 bucks. And I refuse to fucking buy that goddamn left leg. So I use other Build-A-Figure pieces to give him a left leg to put him on my fucking shelf because that's goddamn insane.
Yep.
So do people ever take the parts and make casts of them and then make like counterfeit fake ass versions of them?
No, you couldn't do it because you'd lose your articulation. By the time you spend your money and doing that stuff,
it'd be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Plus,
sometimes shit like that happens. Like, why can't I just get a left leg for Odin?
But you're saying like everybody just figures out the left leg is going to be the one that we screw people with, and that's the one.
It's usually the most popular character of the wave.
Which in that one was one of the Thor characters.
Oh, okay, I see.
That came with that fucking left leg. It was the Thor character out of that wave.
The recent one, the Armadillo. The Armadillo is like a great looking Build-A-Figure.
You gotta put
can't build it because one of the figures is like how the main character, it's Miles Morales. You can't get that leg.
You got to put up Eduardo's comment, dude. That's excellent. That last comment. Oh, he walked away. He says it cost an arm and a leg.
Cost an arm and a leg.
Miles wasn't the one that came with that leg. Miles didn't come with any Build-A-Figure pieces. I was just looking to see. I was like, wait, do I have an armadillo leg? And I'm like, wait, no, because Miles didn't come with a Build-A-Figure piece. He was the one that didn't come with a Build-A-Figure piece. Who the fuck came with a Build-A-Figure piece?
I thought Miles came with a leg.
No, I've got one here. I've got the original one, and I've got the translucent one, and they're both.
Translucent don't have a Build-A-Figure. It's a standalone figure.
No, but even the other one I've got, because I've got two of him, and he didn't come with anything either. He was the one figure that didn't come with anything in the wave.
All right, I got a question. So there's a popular Build-A-Figure character, and the most sought-after appendage comes with some character. Is it even more expensive if it's unopened, or does everybody value it more with the leg out?
Well, I don't have a leg, and I've got two of him. How the fuck do I not have a leg?
I pulled up the wave. He comes with a leg.
Well, fuck me. I don't have a leg, or do I? Maybe I do, and I just don't remember.
So
I don't fucking know.
He's been sitting on a leg this whole time.
I swear, I thought he came just like this, just like the other one did, which is with nothing. Would be nice if they would put the rest of the wave on the back of the package somewhere so you could see that shit.
So you're saying that one that you were bitching about not having a leg for might be in that package that you were just holding in your hand?
That is. Check the private chat.
This dude?
Yep, there's the
mindless one. Yeah.
That looks so good.
Yeah, it looks cool, man.
That's his eyes coming out like in a wave like that or whatever.
Yeah,
the issue is there's armies of this
Teenage
thing.
Mutant Ninja Turtle.
It kind of looks like one.
There's armies of this thing for work. They're Dormammu's minions.
This guy's way bigger. Is like Hulk? He's way bigger than everybody else.
They're like hulking monsters.
Now that's Ninja Turtles. That's the cool dude Ninja Turtles.
So there's this dude at my work who's got Ninja Turtle tattoos, and then he finished it off with a Shredder sleeve.
Well, that sounds like the hooks or whatever the Shredder's got.
Oh, it's really well done. It's
like the hooks like Shredder has on his arms. You mean?
Well, I mean, he's got like a tattoo of Shredder, but it's like on his. It takes up his whole entire arm.
Oh, of Shredder. I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking. Okay. Well, that makes more sense. I like TMNT, but I don't like them that much.
I hate this fucking Christmas shit. Why are they making more? This shit didn't sell last year.
Oh, man. What I mean, cheer.
You better collect it because they're going to stop making it, and then it'll be worth money.
And
you'll be like, oh, I wish I had the thing because they were making it, and now they're not anymore.
No, I don't give a fuck about fucking Christmas Star Wars bullshit. This is just gimmicky crap.
If you try to break a nut with that Stormtrooper nut breaker, probably doesn't break the nut very good. It misses the nut.
You know, you got to put the nut between his legs and squeeze to break the nut, much like you would anyone else to break their nuts.
It'll miss the nuts all the time.
That is a cool R2D2, though. I do like that.
Is that a pencil sharpener? What the hell?
No,
Dude, they need to make real life size R2D2s that walk around your house and beep at you and do things for you.
Yeah, I think I've seen those. I've seen those years ago, I think.
Like, they've got the technology now to do it. Let's get some fucking R2D2s, man.
I feel like with Roombas, we're like the precursor to R2D2. Like, we should. How long has Roombas have been around for? What, 15 years? I mean, hasn't enough time passed? Somebody's figured out an R2D2 yet?
So, I mean, the next step would be like a Roomba that brings you a drink. You know what I mean? Or something.
That already exists. And they stand around.
Well, they already make robots in Japan that people fuck. So I feel like
they make robots that'll essentially be like R2D2. They kind of stand around like a butler. So you'll say like, "What time is it? What's the stock market like? What's my email?" And it's, it'll either display it or tell you. It's sort of like a robot butler, and do tasks. But they could easily put a vacuum in it.
Yeah, I feel like we should have been there already, though. I feel like enough time has passed.
So wait on my goddamn fucking hoverboard, but whatever.
Yeah, with the hoverboards, with the fucking flying cars and shit. Which
my Jetsons flying car.
I think this one's pretty good. This one has a lot of detail.
This one's cool.
Probably the best unmasked Wolverine head we've gotten in Marvel Legends.
I like how the knees are yellow.
That does look like Jada Pinkett Smith, doesn't it?
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Burn it with fire.
Didn't he say to keep her name out of your mouth?
Keep her name out your mouth.
Keep my wife's motherfucking name out your motherfucking mouth. Whack.
Is that rubber? Her like cape or whatever, rubber, or is that a fabric?
What, the cape? That's fabric.
Okay.
That cape is fabric.
Will you guys ever watch another Will Smith movie?
What?
Have you lost respect for Will Smith to the point where you will no longer watch his movies?
No.
I don't really like him in the movies because he's kind of one-trick pony, but he's in good movies, so you have to fucking watch him.
Yeah, I mean, if he puts out a good movie, I'll watch it. I don't give a shit.
I don't enjoy him usually.
I've lost respect of him as a man, but like, if he puts out a good movie, I'll still fucking watch it.
What about Robert De Niro?
No, Robert De Niro has completely soured me on watching him.
I don't feel like watching him.
So the line is somewhere between Will Smith and Robert De Niro.
The line is somewhere in there. I don't know exactly where, but yeah. So.
It's not bad Gambit.
Yeah, it's pretty good looking Gambit. I mean, I've got my original Gambit up here from, I can't remember what wave that was from. What was that original Gambit we got before the retro card one? What wave was that?
What wave was it?
Anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
Sitting here, I'm cleaning my AK, and it's clean as a whistle.
I can't remember if it's Apocalypse or Juggernaut or something like that.
Something like that. I still like that one. I like the colors on that one better than this one because this is the animated colors, which I care less about. But I do like that head sculpt better than the one I've got up there.
Yeah.
Does he come with
other than that, I like the one up here better. Well, because the one I've got up here, that Juggernaut wave or whatever the fuck it was, actually has like the metallic sheen to it and everything, and the darker coat, and it looks more like the comics. But I do like that head sculpt better, which is the only reason I would buy that one is for the head sculpt.
If I saw this on clearance, I'd pick it up for the head.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't pick something up for head? But
yeah,
especially clearance head. Clearance head is the best because I mean, at that point, they're just practically giving it away. So. Don't give a shit about this.
Super disappointed in that.
Yeah.
Don't care. Look, there's the animated GIF over there. That's what she should look like.
Yeah, like that.
That head sculpt looks nothing like animated Rogue.
No. I need a Rogue that can do the I'm laying down showing off my ass move in front of Apocalypse. You know what I mean? The meme. But they've not made a Rogue with a big enough ass to work with that meme.
You quit talking about asses in front of my little baby puppy over here.
Ass, titties, ass, titties, ass. So
What's your dog
Yeah, I mean-
name there, G-Webs?
these are fine, I guess.
Bacon bits.
I do like the Magneto is the one that's the best one by far.
You say his name is
I'll
Bacon
pick up
Bits?
the Magneto for sure.
When he's bad,
Yeah,
his bacon bit, and when he's just good, his bit.
Oh, and I do like this Bishop. I do like the animated Bishop.
It's an all new body. I got looking at it. It's like a lot of the
Yeah,
details.
it's not just a reissue of that other Bishop.
No, it's an all new body, and it's kind of soft looking though. The sculpt wise.
Well, because it's got that animated look, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
I like it because it's got kind of an animated look. It still looks like a good Bishop. It doesn't have cell shading, and I can see this Buck being used to do multiple X-Men characters in that costume.
Yeah. What they really should have done with these retro cards, had their actual '90s cartoon head and the continuation cartoon heads, like what they're coming with. But they don't want to do that. Then they can't have you buy another one later on to buy the actual '97.
Well, you could probably do a head swap on Bishop with the other Bishop we've gotten.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bishop look cool. Bishop and Magneto, I'd like to pick up. The rest, I don't really care.
I like one thing I like about the Wolverine.
Oh, go back to what the dude has in his hand, that pink thing in his hand. Was that a card?
Him? Yeah, because he throws playing cards.
Yeah, there's that other view of it though. I couldn't tell. I thought there was a tear from this view.
Yeah, he's throwing an ace
Okay,
of
so
hearts.
he does come with a card. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
That is a nice head sculpt though for.
Yeah, that's a great head sculpt.
I'd be afraid that if that card fell out of his hand, then it would look like he was giving you the middle finger.
All I would need to do to that is do a wash over the hair, and it'd look perfect on the one I've already got.
Yep.
What do you mean a wash to make it look more real?
Yeah, because it's kind of animated hair. It's just all solid brown plastic instead of having like any painted details in the cracks. Make it look
Wash simulate shading.
Right, yeah. Make it look more like real.
So.
I am really liking what we're seeing with the Jada Toys with the Street Fighter and the Cyberpunk stuff.
Yeah. Who is this? Who is Detroit Steel? I don't know this character. I'm assuming it comes from the comics when I wasn't reading comics.
I think that came out like when they did that all new Marvel launch when they like replaced Iron Man with Riri Williams and stuff like that.
Okay.
I can't believe you don't know who Detroit Steel is.
Yeah, I don't know who a fucking 3-fingered Iron Man wannabe with a chainsaw on his arm is.
Oh, it's completely inaccurate to the comics front because they're using the Ironmonger.
He's got 4 fingers.
No, he has 3 fingers and a thumb.
Oh, it's gonna be like that, huh? All right.
Yeah, well, because your thumb's not a finger, so. But yeah. Okay, yeah, I didn't know who this was. I have no interest in that shit at all. I don't care about this.
Have you seen the robot transformer dinosaur now that opens up on its own, turns into a robot on its own?
Yeah, Grimlock.
Yeah, Grimlock, and then how he can you can tell him to fight, and then when he's a robot, he gets his guns out and shit. That's the part I thought was cool.
Yeah. These look cool. I was telling you this the other day. These look cool. These are like classic animated throwback 80s.
It's also going to be bittersweet too. I love the fact they're going to the Filmation look. But this is what's going to go to retail. And if you want to finish out your toy Origins line, it's going to be a Mattel Creations exclusive line.
Is He-Man wearing a thong?
When did He-Man ever carry 2 swords around? Does that give him double the power?
It's part of the episode of a cartoon where actually the power sword gets merged with another sword.
Okay, that's 2 different kind of swords.
Their accessories are from certain episodes of the cartoon.
So I'm curious about that Skeletor. There's just one of each of these, so there's just one Skeletor?
Yeah, I guess.
Because I'm just seeing there's something at the top left there that I'm guessing is some kind of unknown.
This is Masterverse shit, which I dumped all my Masterverse stuff. I got rid of it
The
all.
only Masterverse one I'm interested in is that Snout Spout.
Oh,
So I never got Snout Spout from the Classics line, and that looks pretty good. And what he is, even though he's going to be bigger than a regular Classics figure, I think it'll work. This costs.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I've told you before.
I'm sure.
He-Man was never my thing. He-Man was never my thing. So I'm not real loyal to it. I do like those old school animated Filmation ones. Those look cool.
Yeah.
And I had some Masterverse stuff, but I got rid of it. I sold that shit on eBay. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna keep collecting this shit. I don't care enough about this line to fucking buy anymore. So yeah, I got rid of all my shit. I mean, they're cool. If you like He-Man, they're cool.
They're making improvements though from the line. I do like the movie figures. We getting the movie Evil Lynn.
Evil Lynn, yeah.
Meg Foster. Meg, what's Foster?
Yeah. Yeah, I like these way better because these look like the old cartoon, which there's some nostalgia there.
And
That's
they're all new bodies. They're starting fresh. Those are new sculpts. They're not the Origins figures.
Yeah. We're even getting what's his name, Rockor, or what the fuck was his name?
Yeah, one of the Rock Lords. I can't remember his name.
Rock Lord. Yeah, there was two of them. Which again is kind of cool. You know, the ones that give that nostalgia feel from the old '80s cartoon. Those are kind of cool. Oh, look, we're getting some glow in the dark skeletons. That's sweet.
Yeah, there are 2 packs, and I had to order 2 of them because they're glow in the dark skeletons.
Yeah, Trapjaw looks great, just like on the old cartoon. Those look cool. Skeletor looks like he walked straight out of the fucking cartoon. You can use this figure to make live action Skeletor memes. You know that whole he comes in, tells you something, and then runs off, ha ha ha, like that shit. You can make live action memes with that because it looks just like the cartoon.
How much is a Skeletor, and how much of the 2-pack of Skeletor?
I don't know. What are the Origins figures going for? Like 15?
I think they're probably about $20 now. They started at 15, but they've been creeping up.
Really? These
How
things
long
are
have they
worth
been out?
fucking $20. Okay, now I'm rethinking picking some of these up.
What size are these? The size of the old He-Mans or different?
They
Basically,
call them 5.5s, but you send them straight up, they're 6 inch tall.
Okay, so about like the old He-Mans.
5.5 to 6 inches
Skeletor's
tall.
power. I forget. Like, what was his power that he could do?
Who?
What? Skeletor?
Yeah.
I mean, well, he had the magic staff that he basically zapped people with and shit. Like that's.
And he ran into the castle and stole it, right?
Other than that, he mostly ran away from He-Man. That's mostly what he did.
It's like getaway power.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. But yeah, those are pretty cool. I like those. Some of them are cool. This thing's fucking cool. I'll never buy this because I just don't give enough of a shit to spend that much money on this. If I was gonna spend this much money on anything, it would be fucking that spaceship, but I'm not gonna do that. But they have any fucking pictures of it? Yeah, the whole goddamn Thundercats castle. Like, man, I would have loved this shit as a kid. It's pretty fucking cool.
It'd be cool to like win the lottery and then, you know, like, okay, I'm going to buy a house or build a house or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm going to build the Thundercat castle.
There you go. Have you seen that meme?
There's
There's this
like a
meme I've seen.
mountainside, you know, like everything.
There's this meme I've seen where it's like, if I win the lottery, I won't ever tell anyone, but there will be signs. And then it shows like this suburban neighborhood, and right in between two of the houses, somebody's built a fucking Castle Grayskull. Like right in the middle of this suburban fucking neighborhood.
Exactly.
Matt, is that an original Thundercats headquarters, or is that a remake?
No, this is a new one. This is
Oh, it's a new one?
remake.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one's, you're looking at.
Wow. Looks like something to make out of a box when I was in 6th grade.
$650 plus $100 shipping and tax.
So $800 for this fucking thing.
Oh my god!
Probably getting close to that. $800.
I mean, it's cool as shit. But yeah, you've got to have lots and lots of disposable
no figures
income and no common sense to spend $800 on this fucking thing.
And there's no figures with that.
Yeah, and no figures. Well, it may come with like one.
Yeah. There's unlocks. If you get so much, if the unlocks at a certain time period, you get like a translucent lino.
Is Honda
I
still
do
in
like
there?
these Silverhawks figures. I just hate fucking Super 7 so much.
Is Honda still in here?
Yeah.
But if you look at
No.
the faces are awful.
Yeah.
Can you full screen me for a second, Matt? I don't want to be a bother, but he asked for pink sea salt on the rim of his margarita, and
I've got plenty.
Salt.
Yeah.
And some ranch, sir, coming right up.
What's really sucks is like everybody was asking for chrome Silverhawks from the get go, and they did those really flat colors. They look terrible. Now they're doing toy versions with the vat chrome. I'm actually surprised they actually revealed these because they got in hot water over the Silverhawks. They were basically telling everybody they own the license to Silverhawks and illegally sub-licensed it out to Ramen Toy.
Do they have Rick and Morty toys?
They do. I forget who makes them though, but they do.
You can buy like the little fucking Rick and Morty spaceship and
Yeah, and you see like
I've
Pickle
seen
Rick.
the Zapper.
That's the one I wanted. I almost picked up a Pickle Rick because they had it at GameStop. It was Pickle Rick with the fucking holsters and the guns. It was fucking great.
They made one Pickle Rick. It was basically looked like it's pretty much a vibrator.
Oh, Honda, you might be interested in these. I mean, not yet, but Jada Toys is making Street Fighter shit. They haven't got to E Honda yet, though. They haven't started making E Honda yet.
That's the Cyberpunk.
if they make an E Honda, I will buy the E Honda.
So far, so they got Dalsim, Chun-Li, we got Bison, Ken, Feilong. We've got two Ryus. I forget this name. Cammy, Guile. I would love to have Guile. Guile, he was cool as shit.
That's DJ in the middle.
DJ
there.
is his name? Okay.
Yep.
I don't remember his fucking name.
When they make an E Honda,
I like those
figure,
Cyberpunk figures. Those look good.
when they make
Yeah,
an
they'll be,
E-Honda,
dude. They've made most of the original line. They haven't got the Blanca, Balrog, Vega, E Honda.
They just for SDC they unveiled DJ, Cammy, and Guile.
So out of the original line, what are they missing? They're missing Vega, Balrog, Blanca, and E Honda. Is that it? They're only missing those four so far?
I'm trying to think.
I think that's it. I think those are the four they're missing from the original line. Because they've got Guile, Dalsim, Bison, Ken, Ryu, Chun-Li. Who am I missing from the original lineup of Street Fighter 2?
All right, yeah, Ryu, Chun-Li, M. Bison, Ken, Zangief. Forget Zangief.
Zangief. Okay.
Sagat, Guile, Dalsim, and then those are all the original ones.
Seahawk.
And then the E
are
Honda.
they okay?
So they're missing five. They're missing Sagat,
And
Sagat, whatever his fucking name is, Vega, Balrog, Blanca, and E Honda. So they're missing.
and Akuma.
So they're half done because there's 10 figures. They've done 5 of the original already, so they still got 5 to go. But I think they should have done the original 10 before they started with like Cammy and DJ and shit.
The other one that I would buy is Akuma, if they had an Akuma.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how they handle the big guys.
Well, yeah, because like Blanca and E Honda are going to be fucking huge. Well, Blanca's not necessarily huge, but he's not just a standard figure. He's got to be all like fucking able to hunch over and shit. And E Honda's just going to be fucking huge.
So when they make an E Honda figure, are you going to get one and have it on yourself?
Yeah. Why not?
No, I don't mean Honda. I mean Matt.
I'd love to have all the original, like the original 10 characters.
Zangief should be huge too.
Matt can't have an E Honda. I will not
Then you
allow
can-
it.
I'll get
then you can
everybody
just go along
but
with E Honda.
Yeah,
there you
you
go.
can have everyone else, but not E Honda.
I'll get everybody but E Honda.
It's fine.
Will you get a cut, Honda? Will you get a cut of every one of these that sell?
Probably should, but
Yeah.
I'll have to contact the company. Let them
Yeah, I
know.
don't give much of a shit about the other characters like DJ and Cammy. I don't care about. I want the original Street Fighter 2 characters. Those are the
I
ones
always like it when chicks go to Comic Cons dressed as Cammy. Nice.
Well, I mean, as long as they're hot.
Well,
Which
Cameo
one was
isn't-
Van Damme in the movie?
But isn't Cameo?
He was
a-
Guile, which he looks nothing like fucking Guile here.
Oh, he's that
When
guy
did
right
these
there.
go up? When did these go up for order? Have they said?
Well, they just revealed those three: Cameo, Guile, and DJ.
Mm.
So,
Well, Dalsim and Bison I hadn't seen before.
they've been shown for a while. Ken, Bison,
Ryu, Fei Long,
and
Chun
Dalsim
Li.
are
I've
way
seen
better.
them.
I always call him Ryu. I don't know if that's wrong.
I call him Ryu, but I always get corrected when I'm talking to people, and it's Ryu.
I don't
Those
care,
are-
man. I'm
those-
white.
those
I'm
people
from
are called-
America.
Well, because growing up, it was
All I use
Ryu.
Ryu.
Everybody I knew called him Ryu.
Yeah.
anybody who calls him Ryu is a douchebag. So
You know, I
Yeah,
used to be the
I
stretchy dude.
you know, I'm not going
I
along.
used to be the stretchy dude, and I would just whoop on people that wouldn't even be able to move. I'd be fucking up their whole day.
Dude, I fucked
Be hitting
everybody
them
up
in
with
that same
Blanca
mood.
because people did not know how to get away from the electrocution.
Can we have a Street Fighter 2 fuckfest when we meet up next?
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played in 20 fucking years, so I probably suck. But
you might want to
It'd
get
still
up
be
on that,
fun.
homie. You might want to start practicing. Because I'm
we
gonna
got
get
to
that
play on like
stretchy
an
dude.
actual arcade because I hate using a fucking gamepad for that shit. I want an
Yeah,
actual like
I don't like
joystick
that.
shit.
I love to have it like a joystick where you play on it.
Yeah,
Yo, you love that joystick.
got to play with your joystick, man.
Do you use the 5.5 inch or 6 inch joystick?
I like to go for a full 10-inch joystick, something that really fills my hand. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So a bunch of people were like,
Preferably
we're
black,
talking about
if they've
dolls,
got
and
it.
it did get worse.
It's
Yeah.
hard to pull off their special moves with like little weird little thumb pad.
It is. Yeah, I always hated that. I remember when Street Fighter first came to fucking Super Nintendo and trying to do it on the fucking D-pad, and you're like trying to fucking roll the D-pad to like fucking do a
Bro,
Hadouken.
I will tear you a new fun hole in this game with a D-pad, bro. You don't know-
I sucked at the D-pad. I always
you don't
played
know what you're messing with.
And again, you got to understand, this is a game I've not played in at least 20 years.
I played it so long, it's like riding a bicycle. It could be 10
Yeah,
years since I played, and I will pick it up and Hadouken you, and then like pull some combo, and then super move in the air. Even if it's not Street Fighter 2, I can figure it out.
I loved Capcom fighting games. I would play them until I beat them with every character.
I'm sorry. As far as I'm concerned, Capcom fighting games were the only good ones.
Yep.
Did you
Like
see
I never liked Mortal Kombat.
Tekken was okay.
Did you see the documentary about the game company? I don't know if it was this one or a different one, but they were in
ever played Soul
Chicago
Calibur?
area, I think.
I played Soul Calibur, but it's just like it's not. Like Street Fighter
What
is
company? What
so
company made
far
Soul
above
Calibur?
every other fighting game for me.
See, Soul Calibur would be the one exception to that I would say, because
What was the one?
there's parrying. There's you can like get out of grabs. There's like a million different, like if you're very advanced and you're fighting against someone who's very advanced, it's like a game of chess.
The other one that I did like, still wasn't as good as Street Fighter, but that I did like was Killer Instinct. I did
But
like
that was about getting like one hits you up in the air, and now I'm doing a 70 hit combo because I know the buttons to press. You know what I mean? Like I didn't like.
I liked it. It still was nowhere near as good as anything Capcom was putting out, whether it was Street Fighter, one of many Street Fighters, or Street Fighter versus Capcom, or the Marvel games. You know, Street Fighter. What I can't even remember all the names they had. They had
Darkstalkers was a good one.
The what?
Darkstalkers.
Never played Darkstalkers.
It's basically like Street Fighter, but with like monsters.
It was Capcom though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Capcom. Yeah, I just never played it. But
Have you seen that documentary about these? The company that made, I don't know which movie, or which video game, but it was all about that first violent video game and how they.
it had to be. It had to have been
Mortal Kombat.
I think so.
That was
So
the
I think
one-
we did talk about it at one time because they kind
Like
of
Mortal Kombat's
tried to
one
make
where
it.
they kind of like start doing like the rating system for games.
Dude,
Well,
right? The
that
Nintendo
was the
version, which
one-
meant no blood, but if you put in like this code when you started it up, it was the blood codes that you could have blood in the game. If you, I was like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I went from green to red.
Yep.
Mortal Kombat was the one that had like parents and politicians freaking out about violence in video games and shit like that, and made news and all that shit.
Which again, the rating system just sold even more games because everybody wanted them.
Yeah.
just like explicit lyric stickers, you know.
Yeah, the more violent, the better. That's why there's a blood code.
But essentially, they were like, "Hey, well, let's make a video game," and they kind of went dark. They just started making it, and when they came up for air, the video game was like totally different than anything else anybody had ever seen.
Yeah.
And then I think they made that Soul Calibur after, right?
Well, there was Soul Edge was the precursor to Soul Calibur, but both of those were based upon the Tekken platform, and as far as the way Tekken works, because Tekken has the same kind of grabs and parries and moves and stuff like that, but it's not nearly as dynamic. It's not nearly as quick. The dudes don't move as fast. They don't circle as fast as they, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a much slower version. And I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, Soul Calibur is like number one. That's like the best fighting game, period. Number two, in my opinion, is the Street Fighter era. Number three would be Mortal Kombat.
I never got into Mortal Kombat. I just never liked it. I don't like the very stilted moves of the characters. The game didn't flow like Street Fighter did.
It got better as the years went on. Like that original version, like you're talking about, where they had like the weird animations of the people that they would take still images of, and that would be the move as the still image. You know, like, yes, you're right. It was very jerky, but if you move forward to like today, to like the newer versions, they're pretty fucking good, and they're pretty competitive, I would say.
I was a big fan of Samurai Showdown SNK. It was on the Neo Geo, but I had it on the Neo Geo.
I remember
it. Mini system.
By the way, Neo Geo was a fucking great gaming system.
That was the unicorn that none of us ever could afford as kids.
It was so ahead of its time, like, because it came out in the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis era, and I don't remember. Like, I know it was
up
just
on the screen. I don't think I've ever seen
it. It was just a. And
it's like
I
a
believe
giant
it was
circuit board that just plugged into it. Yeah.
I believe it was just a 16-bit system, just like Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis was. But like all the games and the animation of the games look so much more fluid on that system than they did on Sega and Nintendo. Yeah, it was like too expensive. I like had one friend that had one that I loved to go to his house and play because I couldn't fucking afford one.
Yeah,
bring up a picture of it. I don't think I know what you're talking about.
The other one was Dreamcast. You had a Dreamcast.
Dreamcast was later on. That was what Dreamcast was later on,
but it was
those.
For its time. It was like way better than anything else, and it wasn't until like Xbox 360 or 1 that anything was better than Dreamcast, which was
Neo Geo. Yeah, here we go.
The cartridges were huge. They were like $100 a pop, weren't they?
They were like $60. Yeah.
The original Neo Geo.
That's the original Neo Geo right there, and it can't. You had the big fighting gamepad because it had quite a few.
Like
fighting
what you'd have it in an arcade, like you're saying.
Yeah, it was fucking great, man. It was a really good system. It didn't last very long. I remember they had the Neo Geo Color, because my friend who had a Neo Geo,
I actually had one.
He had one of those too. And
they're not bad. They have like a little clicky arcade stick with them, and
you put like 8 AA batteries in it, and it would last like 30 minutes, and then you would need
games on VHS tape.
No, the Neo Geo Pocket Color would last a long time. It didn't have a backlit screen. You might have been thinking of the Sega Nomad. That was one that had the full color backlit screen. It burned through 6 AA's in like an hour.
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
We used to play. When I think about it, it was Sega because we played Sonic the Hedgehog on it.
Neo Geo was cool. I liked it. It was a gaming system. I don't remember who produced that. What company was
SNK.
that from? SNK or
you're basically getting like Heavy Barrel and what was the Godzilla game that they had? King of the Monsters. Yeah. Because they would have like 4 different games you could choose, or 3 different games you could choose on one arcade system.
Yeah.
What was that game where you turned into like Godzilla, and then you had to climb the buildings, and then your friend would be King
Rampage.
Kong.
Rampage,
Oh,
man.
I love that game, dude.
Rampage is fucking great. I
The
just
movie-
watched the Rampage movie the other night, that one with The Rock that came out in like 2015 or whatever.
Yeah,
The
how was
movie
that?
has nothing to do with the game, but
It has nothing to do with the game, but it's still a great, stupid fucking movie.
yeah,
Big
it's
monster movie. Except
Well,
at the end, when all the creatures do climb up to the top of that one building and start destroying it, and you're like, oh, okay, I see where we're going here. But you don't get that payoff.
in the
till
game, all the creatures were people.
Yeah. But
And don't forget TurboGrafx 16 and then TurboGrafx
Warcraft
CD.
16 was
Yeah,
good.
Box Adventure. I used to rent that system.
I
Man.
remember like when first playing that Rampage games, like when you lose, your character turns into a naked human and
Yeah.
tries to get off the screen back over.
I think it was PlayStation was the one that I had for a long time. The name of the game that we always played was fucking Operation Desert Storm. And you could have up to 4 people playing, and like one dude was like a heavy machine gunner, another guy was an engineer, you had the sniper, and then you had like the squad leader or whatever, right? And everyone had like different weapons and stuff. You could play it on one player and like switch between the 4 dudes and like assign dudes to do other stuff. Oh, I love that fucking game. That was so much fun.
Now,
So
was that divided into 4 screens? How was that set up? I don't remember
Right,
that.
it was divided into 4 screens if there were 4 people playing.
It was like GoldenEye. It was like
Right.
GoldenEye. The way it,
And it was cool because like it was I don't know, like the way things work today online when you play shooting games, you just get pwned all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Versus like playing with your friends against a computer, you know, that's kind of hard to beat and is challenging in different ways. Like that was a great fucking game.
I just sent you a thing on Messenger, Matt. People were like asking questions about Oppenheimer.
what? Where? On
The
Facebook?
yeah, I did. It's the end. I like the alternate head though, but it should. There it is.
Oh, what's it? Let's see.
Was
People
that
are-
Facebook scanning the message before it sent it to you to make sure it wasn't terrorism?
Is
Probably.
the nuke? Oh my God! Is the nuke in Oppenheimer real? Did they drop a real? This is on Google.
Yep.
People also ask: is Oppenheimer based on a true story? Is the nuke in Oppenheimer real? Did they drop a real nuke for Jesus Christ? This is a world we live in, people. People are this fucking dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I like the comments over the side. We're on the message link. We're not going to make it. No, we're not going to make it.
Dude, there was something, I forget what it was, but they were like, the sign at the front door needs to be bigger so people can understand this thing, right? And I was like, I don't care if the sign is the size of the door that they have to open to get in. They're not going to read that shit, and they're certainly not going to understand it. People are fucking
Nobody
dumb.
will ever read a sign on a door. I was in. We had an office space at one time. Like it used to be the help center, like computer help center, and people would keep constantly coming there after the help center moved, want their computer worked on, and they'd get so mad because we're not the help center no more. And I had a sign on the front door, big map, where to go to. Help center has moved. Go here. Phone number. Then they're like, I'm going to complain to the president of the university. You won't fix my computer. Fine. Have fun with that. I told the dude that. You come to this is an office.
And today's lesson for the chat people is people are fucking stupid. People are entitled dumbasses. Of course, I feel like we learn that on every chat. So it's nothing new. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been 3 hours, and I haven't eaten dinner yet. I did snack at the movie theaters this morning, but I am hungry. So we're going to cut this chat off for the evening. It is time.
Would you do a 3-hour chat?
One,
Because
farewell.
3 hours?
Adieu. Alvida Sane. Goodbye. And that is it. You won't see us back here on this channel till next week. But we do got the NEA stuff going all throughout the week, so we'll be there then and there. And Honda, you are finally back on YouTube now.
Yes, and you should come to the chat tomorrow because we're going to be talking about a subject that you and I have.
Are you going to change the time of your chats? No, you're not. Dude, I work a 12-hour shift and wake up at 5 in the morning. I work a 12-hour shift and wake up at 5 in the morning on Monday. I can't go to your chats on Sunday nights. It's too late.
But we're talking about Atlantis.
That's cool, but I can't do it.
And why it's not the Ricat structure and why you're wrong.
Okay, whatever. That's fine. I don't care. I can't go to a chat that late.
Structure. It's your favorite.
I know, but I can't. I can't go to a chat that late on a Sunday night anymore, man.
And I feel my chat's late at 9 o'clock.
So
8 o'clock for you.
I got to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I can't do it on Sunday nights.
You have to leave, even like with mine starting at 8. You got to leave early on that one because you got to get up early.
Yeah, and yours starts at 8, like your time, and I still left early.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah.
I started at 8 o'clock Colorado time. It's not that late.
Yeah, but it's late for me. On Sunday nights, Monday is my long ass day. I got to wake up at the ass crack of dawn in the fucking morning, and I fucking got to try and go to sleep. And it takes my motherfucking ass like 3 fucking hours once I hit the bed to actually fall asleep, because I can't just fucking fall asleep like that. I mean,
if you make myself. Have you ever tried a noise machine?
If you want to break up and see other streamers, I understand, but you should just tell me the truth, man.
No, you should, dude. You used to do a Saturday night chat that I had no problem going to, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm going to change off Saturday and go with fucking Tuesday." And it's like, okay, like that's on you, bro. I told you I can't do it.
Well, you're the one who decided to do this Saturday chat, and I felt bad because
I specifically scheduled my Saturday night chat at 7 o'clock my time, so I can still do a 2-hour chat because you usually didn't go on till like 10 o'clock my time.
Yep, and we're fighting.
I feel like I should hide.
This is what happens when mommy and daddy fight.
Yep, we're fighting.
This is it. This is what happens. This is what it looks like, people, when mommy and daddy fight. Anyway. All right, guys, I gotta go. I gotta go fucking eat something before I lose my shit and get hangry. So, which I know some of you would be thoroughly entertained if I got hangry and started getting pissy, because it's very similar to when my air conditioner doesn't work and I get mad. And y'all got to see that a few weeks ago. And some of y'all fucking thought it was goddamn hilarious that I was that angry for an entire 2-hour chat. It was not fun for me, motherfuckers. Anyway,
hey man, I got my sliding door open right now.
Fuck you, sir.
Love you too.
Nebraska asshole.
It'll be 60 in the morning, but
fucker. It's gonna be like 105 tomorrow.
Oh man,
they need
look,
to
buddy.
With 100% humidity.
Oh my god, dude.
I don't plan to leave the fucking house.
When they launch one of them spaceships, does the humidity go down at least?
No, not at all.
Can't even take off through the heavy air.
Probably goes up because they burn hydrogen.
Yeah. Fucking assholes. Anyway, all right, guys. We'll see you guys later. Have fun, all that good stuff. And we are out of here.